What up and welcome to the Rival Fantasy live stream. I'm your host Neil Maligno, and of course we are talking week 15 football. For many of you, that is the fantasy playoffs. It's an exciting time of year. This is what we, get forward to. This is what we're trying to get to. This is the moment that we're, reaching towards every single year. Now, of course, I would say if you're not in the fantasy playoffs or, and you're still watching the show, why are you just dedicated to the rival community? But then I thought about it to myself, wait, we have games at Rival Fantasy that don't require you to be in the playoffs. So that's the beautiful thing about Rival Fantasy. Again, this show is brought to you by Rival Fantasy, and if you're asking what is Rival Fantasy, maybe this is the first time you've ever tuned in, it's not just a name, it's actually the website that we run. And it's also an app. So right now you can go to your phone, go into the App Store, type Rival Fantasy Sports. You'll find our app. You could download it for free, sign up, start to play, or you can go to the website rivalfantasy.com, and this is what you will see. This is rivalfantasy.com. So the beauty of Rival Fantasy is, yes, of course, we have season long. You can play your season long leagues there. That's beautiful. But then we also have these things called challenges where you can get on there and play these type of things that you're looking at in front of you. Tyreek Hill versus Christian McCaffrey, straight up fantasy points, no other things to worry about. Fantasy points only. Someone put $5 on Tyreek Hill to beat Christian McCaffrey this week in fantasy points. So you would just click on the other player if that's what you wanted to do, bet your 5 and hit place bet. It's that simple. You can also create your own challenges, so you don't have to go with the ones that are system generated. You can go ahead and here, say you're having an argument at work, a debate with a family member, a friend, someone on social, or maybe you just have an idea and you want to throw it on social. You would go in here, you would pick your player. You could pick a player for the other person, whether it's someone you're already debating about or whether you just want to throw it out there and see who picks it up. You could do any positions, right? So you're not locked into like running back versus running back or anything of that sort. And then once you do that, you would hit continue, pick the side that you want. Very straightforward. Put the amount you want and you would place your bet. You would then be able to share it directly to your friends on Rival Fantasy, or if you want to put it on social or send it to somebody a text message, you can do all that. So you have that capability on Rival Fantasy. And then we also have Fantasy Bingo, which I will get into in a little bit as we go along here in the show, but it's very simple. You create a fantasy lineup, no salary cap, nothing like that. And then you try to fill in these achievements that are on your bingo card. It's $1 to play, buy your card, have a bunch of fun. And so, yeah, so even if your season-long league is over, which is fine. I have a bunch of season-long leagues here on Rival Fantasy. Some I'm still in, some I'm not. But if your season-long league is over, you still have this opportunity to be playing fantasy sports. So it's a lot of fun. Get in there, try it out. We also have a link in the description. If you haven't, made a deposit yet and you want to make a deposit, we got a deposit match in there for you, plus a free voucher. So go check it out. All right. That out of the way. What's up, everybody? I appreciate you guys for joining me. As I said earlier, go ahead and like this episode, like this video if you haven't done so already. Also, subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, we're here just for you. That's what we're here for. It's building this fantasy football community. We want to answer your questions. We want to talk sports, not just football, because I know football is coming to an end here at some point. We talk about baseball, basketball, whatever it is, whatever sport you want to talk, we're down to talk about it. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel so that way you don't miss out on future things. Same thing with whether it's stuff on Rival Fantasy, whether it's just your fantasy leagues, to get those notifications turned on for YouTube so you don't miss these live streams. Because a lot of times you have to watch it later on a replay. It's a little late. You want to get this news ahead of time. And also, I do want to thank those who are joining me today. Normally, we stream on Sundays right before kickoff, usually 11:30 a.m. EST. We've been doing this, some schedule conflicts on our end. So we're doing this, at night on a Saturday. So I appreciate you guys for joining me. And shout out to all the team over at Rival Fantasy. They've been crushing it. The devs, the marketing team, development team, everybody over there. Shout out to everybody because they're really hard at work, to knock everything out and create the best platform possible for you guys. I figure before we get to any questions, which I know some questions are already sitting in the chat from previous, since the episode went live, people could drop comments in there at any time. And so there are some in there, but I do want to talk about what's happening right now in just football in general, because we have 3 games that played today. One's actually still going, but 2 that already played. So we should catch up on those, kind of see what's transpired so far. I do want to drop a question in the chat for you guys. So go ahead and answer that poll when you have the chance. I'm curious what you guys are thinking about these Saturday games. I'm saying Thursday. I'm so not used to this many games being happening on a Saturday. So Vikings Bengals was the first game of the day. If we look at that just from a fantasy perspective, Nick Mullins over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he also threw a couple interceptions, rushed for 10 yards, nothing crazy. He lost to the Bengals, actually. So, I mean, he played okay, though, right? Like, not horrible, not fantastic. I'm hoping that a lot of people weren't banking on a Nick Mullins week, but you never know. 2 quarterback leagues, super flex leagues, any of these things, you may have had to do it. So I get it. Ty Chandler went off, and this is very frustrating for me to see because I've been saying that I can't stand Madison. I don't think he's the best running back there. I thought McBride, the rookie, would have an opportunity. He didn't. We've seen that right away. And then, a guy like Ty Chandler comes in, fills in for Madison, and balls out. 132 rushing yards, 1 touchdown there, 25 receiving yards. I feel like he could have got even more going there, probably if they would have targeted him a little more, but still, pretty good game overall. Monster game, honestly. And then rookie Jordan Addison at wide receiver, 111 yards off 6 receptions, 2 touchdowns, crushed it. Jefferson, 7 receptions for 84 yards, not bad, especially since he's still shaking that rust off from the injury. But if you had to start him, I mean, not if you had to. If you had him, you didn't bench him. You weren't going to bench him. So at least he didn't get you a touchdown, which sucks, but still pretty good game of PPR. And then Hawkinson, 63 yards on 6 catches, pretty good, especially from a tight end. Again, you would have liked to see a touchdown, but it is what it is. On the other side, the Bengals, Jake Browning, still going. 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Having very Joe Burrow-like games here. It's impressive. I talked about it on previous videos. I've talked about it on previous live streams. I had this issue where, when Joe Burrow got hurt, I wasn't sure if I was trusting, the Ja'Marr Chases of the world. Not a knock on him, but just, going to Jake Browning from Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, the running back situation. I didn't trust any of them. I was kind of like trying to distance myself a little bit, but Jake Browning has been just crushing it. Another guy where I'm sure a lot of people did start him this week in the fantasy playoffs. So if you did, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't a bad game for him. Over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. I know he had the 1 interception, but still not terrible. That's a really good game from, Jake Browning, at least. Like, what are you asking? What were you expecting? You know what I mean? From a Jake Browning, that's probably what it was. So Joe Mixon, 47 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Not much from the receptions, but 3 for 14. Okay game. Got the touchdown. Made things a little better that way. Ja'Marr Chase, 64 yards on 4 catches, no touchdowns. T. Higgins was really the player of the game here in terms of big-time catches. 4 receptions, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not a monster performance, but the 2 touchdowns are beautiful. Higgins, we've been kind of waiting for to really pick things up. And again, we didn't know, would Browning be able to, feed all these targets to Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins and Boyd and everybody around there, and he did really well. So that was a good thing to see. And then Chase Brown, 23 yards rushing, 28 yards receiving, 3 receptions. I wanted to see more, but this is kind of how it's going to go for Chase Brown. He's going to be a flex option for you, but he's going to be kind of risky. Like, right, if he doesn't get the touchdown on the goal line or a big touchdown play, will he score you a lot of points? You're not really sure. But again, pretty good performance overall in this game. We'll look at the Colts and Steelers in a second. I do want to answer Verness Williams here. So Verness Williams dropped a question in the chat actually before the live stream started and said, I'm in the playoffs, but I had this gut feeling to start Matthew Stafford over Dak Prescott this week. Then also just asked it again. Yeah. So Verness, here's the thing, right? Like, I understand where you're going with this, right? Like, I understand the logic in terms of, what's making you ask this question. For me, and this is why I always do this caveat with the live streams, with the content we put out there, the articles, the shorts, everything we put out there, I always try to preface it by saying that, I'm giving you my advice and it's what I would do, but ultimately go with your gut, right? Like, go with what you think should be done. Because at the end of the day, when you lose or win, but especially if you lose, you want to go out on what you felt, right? Like, if I take advice from somebody and I lose, and I solely went off their advice, then when I lose, I'm going to be pissed off that I took their advice and didn't do what I wanted to do. So I say that to say this. I get why you're asking this question. It's a logical question. It's a good question. I would still start Dak, right? Like, the Cowboys offense has been on fire. They haven't been slowed down really by anyone. I know that he's playing Buffalo. Maybe that's concerning you a little bit, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Because if we think about the frustrations for the Bills this season, it's been mostly a defensive, issue. So while I understand the concern there, I'm not concerned about the Bills defense, right? Like, that's not a problem to me. I'm not going to sit, one of the hottest quarterbacks in football for Matthew Stafford, who, again, you're asking this because he's been really good the last couple, last few weeks, actually, 20 plus points the last 3 weeks. And he's done it against some good defenses too, right? Like Cleveland was a really good defense. Baltimore's a really good defense. So I get the question, but I'm just not going to go there. And Washington's a good matchup for him. Like it favors him in terms of the matchup of, even equivalence to the Bills. I get that the Washington defense is, less threatening, less concerning, but I'm still going to roll with Dak Prescott here. Again, if you like Matthew Stafford, and that's what your gut is saying to do, I will not, tell you not to do that. Like fall on your sword if that's where you feel. But I'm going to roll with the hottest quarterback in football, or one of the hottest quarterbacks in football. I'm not afraid of the Bills defense. If you look at the Bills games, you see the Jalen Hurts of the world, the Joe Burrows of the world, where, I feel like Dak belongs in these conversations, right? I don't think he's as good as, Jalen Hurts and stuff, but they did well too, right? Against the Bills defense. So it's not like they're, matchup proof or you can't, hang with them. This honestly could be a shootout in this game. So they're gonna have to put up a lot of points, right? Like when Dak Prescott versus Josh Allen, that's just a lot of fun. There's so many weapons on both sides of the field. This game screams high score. So that's where I would go. Whereas the game with Stafford, it might not be, a high scoring game. Who knows? Or they could both really be high scoring games, but I'm still going to favor Dak Prescott. But again, thank you for the question. Thank you for, watching, support. I hope you liked the episode. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. Again, guys, we got a poll up here on the channel as well. Did you enjoy the Saturday NFL games? I know one is still going, but did you enjoy them? Did you not like them? Did you like them? Let me know. No problem. You're welcome. Let me know what you guys think of those, those games today. Going back to those games, just speaking on them now, Steelers Colts game. Oh, man, Steelers. Yikes. Trubisky did not play well. Jaylen Warren, Najee Harris, from a rushing standpoint, didn't play well. Deontay Johnson caught a touchdown, 62 yards, 4 receptions. Pretty much everybody else other than him on the Steelers didn't really do enough for you to do anything, especially at this point in the fantasy playoffs where you need them to. Gardner Minshew, 215 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's the blessing from Gardner Minshew this week, is that if you had to start him, and if you rolled with him, he didn't throw you any interceptions, which has kind of been the Achilles heel for Gardner Minshew. He'll get you some points. He'll get you, the passing yards and the touchdowns, and then he hits you with all these interceptions, which knocks him down. He didn't do anything rushing-wise, which you would have liked to see, but solid game. Solid game. He didn't lose it for you, if anything. Zach Moss, on the other hand, is someone who may have lost things for you because he got hurt in the game. So he only had 13 rushing yards. He did have 20 receiving yards and a touchdown. So at least he left you with something. He gave you something to walk away with, but it wasn't what was, potentially going to happen in this game and likely to happen in this game, because Trey Sermon then took over 88 yards, Tyler Goodson 69 yards. That's not counting, any passing yards or anything they also got involved in. So yeah, you lost something there if you started Moss. At least he gave you something, to hold on to, but obviously not what you want in terms of the output, because it could have been way better. But thankfully he got you that before he got hurt. Michael Pittman, 78 yards, 4 receptions, same situation, as Moss there. Other than that, Montgomery, no one started him, touchdown. Mo Alley Cox, not likely you started him, but if you did, you got a touchdown out of a tight end, 2 receptions, 20 yards. You take it and you're just happy with it because he's obviously not one of the elite tight ends in the league that you're expecting a ton from. So you'll take that from him. The most interesting game to me is the one actually going right now, which is the Broncos and Lions. Broncos and Lions 35-10 right now. Still almost got almost a whole fourth quarter to go, 11 minutes in the fourth quarter. Russell Wilson, 175 yards and a touchdown, not much else besides that. So hopefully he can pick that up here as this game, winds down. He can still make it a decent game for you if he scores a couple more touchdowns or, gets a bunch of yards in there. But as of right now, kind of underwhelming. Javonte Williams, come on, nothing at all. 15 yards on 10 carries, just killing people right now. No rushing game at all for the Broncos. And then from the passing game, same situation. There's some guys with yards, 4 for 57, Cortland Sutton, 2 for 59, Judy, but the touchdown goes to the Jordan Humphrey. Again, you didn't start him in fantasy, so it's irrelevant. So right now, Broncos are killing you. On the flip side, Jared Goff, 258 and 4 touchdowns. Still 11 minutes to go, so he can still add on to that. That's a beautiful game coming from him. Gibbs, 88 yards and a touchdown from the rushing side of things. I also got an 8-yard touchdown catch, or 8 yards and a touchdown, 2 receptions. So he's doing great for you. So right now, Goff's killing it for you in fantasy. Gibbs is killing it for you in fantasy. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 receptions, 102 yards and a touchdown, also killing it for you. Sam Laporta, 4 catches, 46 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, if you started players in the Lions offense, you're loving it. If you started players in the Broncos offense, not so much. Not that great for you, right? So that's a big difference here. And again, you hate for it to have to, really hang in the balance, your fantasy playoffs, your championship, you're making the playoffs, whatever it is. You hate to have to depend on these guys and then they fall short. But now if you started one of the guys who are stalling you out right now. So on Sunday, now you got some decisions to make. Do you go high upside plays? Do you keep it safe because these guys are underwhelmed for you? I think you go high upside because you got to make up for the points that you're missing here. Again, the game's not over. So Russell Wilson and these guys can still, redeem themselves. I'm hoping, like, for instance, I had a question this week on one of the videos that we put out. Let me get the guy's name first. Okay. ICT guy 455. He asked me a question on one of the videos. He said, big week here. I have Tua and Goff. Who do I start? And he also mentioned that there was a few players on waivers. Now, when you think about this question, they're both playing kind of brutal defenses. So it's a bad timing right now in fantasy in terms of these two players. That's how you were looking at it before the game, right? Before this game happened. I said I'd roll with Goff. And I said, the reason I'm thinking this is ugly weather in Florida. I live in Florida. I'm in West Palm Beach. The weather has been hell. It's been hellacious the last few days, if that's a word. It's been terrible, and it's not going away. So, I'm thinking about Tua playing in that, and I don't usually put, heavy credit on weather, but I'm going to put credit on it, period. I'm going to acknowledge it. And so the weather's been just terrible. And then I think about, he's down some players. A-Chain's beat up. Hill's beat up. I'm thinking this isn't coming together for Tua as a positive, right? Goff's situation in terms of, his situation, not perfect either. Again, tough defense. And, I just feel more confident with Goff, I said, going into it. He did mention some other, quarterbacks that were on waivers he could have picked up. I said, I'm still rolling with Goff. Of course, like I always say, follow your gut. Do what your gut tells you. What's up, Wiley? Shout out to you. But when it comes down to this, though, I don't know who he rolled with yet because obviously we haven't spoke since. But if he didn't go with Goff, I know right now this is why I say I love chopping it up with you guys. I love talking to you guys. That's why I love you guys interacting in the comments and being a part of the conversation. It's not just I'm not just doing this to do it. I'm doing it because I actually enjoy talking to you guys, and I hope that your fantasy teams do well and that the advice really helps. So right now, all I'm thinking about, I immediately see Jared Goff score. How he's producing, and I immediately go to this comment. I immediately think about it. I'm like, man, I feel like he wanted to start Tua, and he may have started Tua. And if he did, it's all good. We don't know what Tua's going to do yet. But now I'm like, I know he's sitting there thinking, what did I do? Did I make the right decision? Did I do the wrong thing? He's going to be thinking about it now until Tua plays. He's not going to be able to, shake that. And then if Tua doesn't play well, he's going to end up hurting for it. And so these are just those things that I think about because that's immediately what I thought of when I seen Goff. Not my teams where I have Goff. I thought about this comment on YouTube that I'm trying to help him with. And I like I said, I don't know which one he went with. I'm hoping that he'll update the comments at some point here, or maybe join the live chat or whatever it is. But these are the things I think about. And so now, if you're one of these people who had this situation where you didn't play Goff, you're never going to stop thinking about it till your player plays, and hopefully your player does well. Now, if you were thinking do I start, Jake Brown in or Goff or whatever, you're seeing them both play the same day, but when you have to wait, it's a little more difficult. It's a little more difficult. So, all right. So let me get back to that game really quick. Yeah, score's still the same. Nothing's changed since I last mentioned it. So yeah, that game's gonna be interesting how it plays out here, because like I said, there's still plenty of time for the Broncos to redeem themselves, and at least from a fantasy perspective, I don't think they're gonna come back and win it, but they can at least redeem some fantasy value there for us, playing. And hopefully they do. I hope for you guys' sake they do. I hope it doesn't play out, you know, in a bad way for you guys, like the Steelers did, for instance. I don't want the Broncos getting in like the Steelers did, but we don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Let me check if the what's that? Let me see over here really quick. Okay. All right, the poll's still up there. I'm gonna leave the poll up for a little bit longer. Did you enjoy the Saturday NFL games, guys? Hit that poll. Check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Also, don't forget to go ahead and like this video. If you haven't liked this episode, it means the world to us. And also subscribe to the channel. All these things take 2 seconds for you guys, but they mean everything to us. We don't ask for nothing in return. We don't try to, you know, get you any other way. There's no catch 22 here. There's no, you know, what's the catch type of situation. We just love your support. We love when you guys interact with us. Chop it up in the chat. If you got questions, drop them in the chat. If you want to answer other people's questions, drop them in the chat. Show us, you know, bring things to life over there, guys. You guys are part of this conversation. It's not just me. All right, I do want to bring back up Rival Fantasy really quick because I want to show you this. All right, some unique things with Rival Fantasy. A couple of things. Okay, so this is my game that I'm in right now. If you see right here in the middle, there's these numbers, right? 5 and 11. Can you guys see that? Let's blow it up really quick. 5 and 11. Those are actually in-league bets. So bets that you can do on the app. So if you have a team on here, if you're in a season-long league, someone bet $10 on me to win. Someone bet $1 on me to win. Someone bet $5 against me to win. So it's really cool. You can't do this on any other platform. It's unique in platform on Rival Fantasy. You can bet. And the cool thing is it doesn't have to be your game. Like I can go to other matchups in the league and actually bet on them as well. So these two, $5. See, these guys, these aren't the people playing. These are people betting on their matchup. So that's very cool. One of the things that you can do on Rival Fantasy. Another cool thing is we have the lockbox in the league. So you can actually, everyone can put their amounts in. Commissioner can set out how it's going to pay out. And then the payout would go directly right into the Rival Fantasy wallet for the users for who wins the league. So a lot of cool, unique things, even for season-long leagues, that are there. So right now, of course, obviously, season-long leagues are wrapping up, but next season these will be available, plus better, even better. Whatever you see right now, it's going to get even better. And then we also, another cool thing that I really love that the devs did was they updated the player cards. So the player cards are just on fire now. It didn't look like this before. If you're new to this, you didn't see them before, but they didn't look like this before. Lots of cool stuff. You got the news over here. You got the awesome graph, all the players' information, just a lot of cool stuff. So all this stuff is here. Rival Fantasy, just go to rivalfantasy.com or download the Rival Fantasy Sports app. You can play your season-long leagues there. Of course, we're going to have other sports as well, so it doesn't stop with football. This is not just a football app. There's other things available. And to kind of give you an idea, when you go to challenges, if you're into other things besides just football, you've done all the football ones for the day, someone's got to go in there and take this. I feel like this is a good challenge. Like Tyreek Hill versus the Jets, he's beat up. I just told you about the weather. Christian McCaffrey playing the Cardinals. Like, this is a good challenge right here, guys. Get in there and get it. But yeah, besides this, you can also go to NBA. If you're into the NBA, there's NBA challenges. There'll be MLB when baseball season starts. And of course, let's go ahead and do a bingo card really quick. I want to show you guys how this works. All right, so you hit create new roster, and we start picking quarterbacks. We start picking all the positions that we want. For Vernest earlier, who asked about Matthew Stafford, we'll put Matthew Stafford in here. We'll go ahead and pick some running backs. Let's go Elliott. I've talked about him a lot this week. If you guys subscribe to the channel, go back and watch videos from earlier in the week. I do not so obvious locks of the week. I also put them in the shorts as well. And there's a blog article. So whichever way you want to consume it, you can consume the video, which is like 5 minutes long, the shorts, or the article. I talked about Ezekiel Elliott a lot this week. Let's get another player on here. Rashad White's been on fire. Kamara. Let's go with Kyron. Oh, Richard. Shout out to Richard. All right, Richard says he's going to send me a challenge. See, this is the beauty of it. Also, you guys, if you're watching, you can add me as a friend on the app at Clock Dodgers. CLOCKDODGERS, exactly how it sounds. If you add me on there, I'll accept your friend request, and then we can actually send challenges back and forth. Shout out to you, Richard. Appreciate you for watching and participating in the chat. And, of course, send me a challenge. I will check it out here. If you send it to me while I'm on the stream, I'll bring it up on the stream. We can talk about it. All right, A.J. Brown. Let's go with another wide receiver. Who do I want? I feel like Devontae. Yeah, I'm going to go DeAndre Hopkins. Tight end. Tight end is a fun one. Tight end's a fun one. I don't like to go with the give me. I don't like the Travis Kelce. Let's go with who do I like this week? I'm going to go with Isaiah Likely. And then at kicker, sometimes I got a guy I really love. Sometimes I just kind of wing it a little bit, or I look at the matchups, kind of think who would be in a situation. But we'll just go with Jake Moody, and then one more flex for us. One more flex. I did talk up Garrett Wilson. I did do it. I did, but I'm not going to go with him. I did talk up Zay Flowers, but I just took Likely, so I'll stay away from that one. Let's go with Jerome Ford. I do like Jerome Ford. Let's go with Jerome Ford. All right. So then once you got your roster here set, you hit submit. Now, it's $1 for a card. You could do as many cards as you want for this particular roster. You could do, 5 cards for this roster. You'll get 5 different, achievements, or you can just, keep doing a bunch of different rosters, and just buy 1 card each, however you want to do it. I'll just buy 1 card for this since I'm doing it as an example. Let me see if Richard sent me a challenge yet. For you, he has not sent it to me yet. Get on it, Richard. If someone sends you a challenge, it'll be here in the For You section, and then of course you have the create section. That's where you do it. I didn't have to create a bunch this week because the Raiders smoked them out there. They smoked them boys. So great game to my Raiders. I always create Raiders challenges to try to elevate it, make it a little more fun for me when I'm watching the game. Score is still the same for the Lions and Broncos, so we're good there. And then I did want to look over some injuries as well really quick. If we look at the injuries for the week, there's some big ones. Oh, he sent me a friend's request. Okay. My bad, Richard. My bad. Let me accept your friend's request really quick. Okay. Accepted. All right. You're in there, my man. You are in there. It's the beauty of Rival Fantasy, guys. If you're in the chat and you've downloaded the app or you are on the website right now, you create an account, if you actually drop your handle in the chat, I can just add you myself and you can accept your request. Or if you want me, or you want to just send it to me, if it's easier for you, at Clock Dodgers, CLOCKDODGERS. That's the best way to do it. And also just one more way to share this. Also, I want to show you guys when you are on the app or on the website, either one, there's this cool notification feature right here that pops up. So you'll see that someone sent you a request. You'll see the live stream here, but you'll also get like all the player updates, your team, set your lineup, grab some bingo cards. But you'll see like player statuses, who's hurt, who's healthy, all those things. Let me see here. Okay. Challenges, you have to pick a rookie from this year's. Let me see what it's saying here. Challenges, you have to pick a rookie from this year's draft. I'm picking Bijan. Okay. You're picking Bijan, eh? You're picking Bijan. Give me. Okay, yeah. Who do I want? And you'll send it. Okay. Let's do. Who do I want? It's a great question, my man. Give me. I'm trying to think of who's in that range that I won't get just smoked. But I do like taking risks. I do like to gamble. Jamar Gibbs already played today. Let's get crazy, man. It doesn't give me a lot of options for rookies. How about do I think he can do it? Let's go with Rashee Rice. You get Bijan at Carolina. Good matchup. Good matchup, by the way. I'll take Rashee Rice. It sounds crazy from the outside, but I think he has a good matchup. I think he'll do fine. He's been doing really good lately. So I'll take that chance. Yeah, give me Rashee Rice, Richard. You send me your Bijan versus my Rashee Rice, and I will accept the challenge, my friend. All right. Let me go over here to the injury. So we got CJ Stroud out with a concussion. That's a major blow, right? Because if you're in the fantasy playoffs right now, but there's a good chance you may have CJ Stroud on your team. He was a league winner for many, right? In terms of how good, he played and performed in comparison to what people predicted kind of going into the season. So you lost him. That sucks. And that sucks for all, the Texans playmakers. So that's a big blow. That's a big blow to your fantasy team. And that's why a lot of people have these situations where they're starting, Brown in, they're starting these kind of guys, and you're going to get lucky. Sometimes you're going to be covered, but it's tough to try to overcome that. Then you got Tyreek Hill. Like I said earlier, he has the ankle situation. So that's an injury that really needs to be monitored. It's a really concerning one. And again, one where I feel like, these are guys that you banked on this whole time. These are guys that help carry you. These are guys who, outplayed themselves. Like that did really well. Not outplayed themselves. Like you expected Tyreek to do good, but like really did, exceptionally well. And so if that's going to be slowed down or not meeting the standard that you've been used to it meeting, that's a big blow. Chris Olave, same thing as Tyreek Hill with an ankle injury, has some, questions. Like I said, the Dolphins in general with A-Chain, Raheem, they're all kind of beat up. I think Raheem's going to play, but A-Chain's a real concern. And honestly, A-Chain brings up a whole nother conversation in terms of like, can this guy really carry a load? Because we've talked about him coming into the season, high expectations. I didn't feel it. Then he did really well. And I was like, damn, okay, A-Chain's a little better than I thought he was. But then the injuries really beat him down. And so now the question is like, at this point, how much can you trust A-Chain? Because A-Chain, every time he played, had like more than one carry, was like a top 5 running back in fantasy. But then the injuries absolutely kill that value, right? So that's one to really monitor. It's going to affect you a lot in Dynasty. What you decide to do with that. Like, do you take the chance and roll with A-Chain as like one of your guys, or do you try to move him to someone who's really a big fan, thinks the injuries are kind of fluky, whatever the case is? So that's one to really pay a lot of attention to. But like fantasy playoffs, I ain't messing with A-Chain. It's just not one of those, guys I want to risk. All right, Richard said he sent the challenge. Let me go ahead and pull it back up. Let's see what challenge he sent. Oh yeah, it should be. Let's see if it's here. All right. For you view. Okay. So this is a perfect example. Thank you, Richard. So $5 on Bijan. I'm taking the Rashee Rice side. That's obviously the challenge he sent to me. So this is one that's not system generated. As you can see, Richard Gonzalez challenged me. So I'm going to, obviously I have my Rashee Rice side. I'm going to take the $5 bet. I hit place bet and that's it. Entry confirmed. We're locked in. Me and Richard head to head. And again, for me, this just adds an extra layer of fun, right? Like, now I'm a little more committed to Rashee Rice. I'm a little more committed to Bijan not playing well, or you can try to balance it out, right? Like if you have Bijan on your teams, you want to load up challenges with him because now you want to root for him in all different levels. Perfect. And then if not, if you don't want to root for him, you want to root against him. Now you just got an extra reason to. I use challenges for so many different things. I use it to settle debates. I use it to, end arguments. I put my money where my mouth is. Richard said, hell yeah. And that's just how I operate with it, man. Like, and it's the same thing like season long in league bets. Like I use it sometimes to like support certain league mates, like to kind of, show them that I'm on their side. I want them to win this week. And I also do it to, hate on people, right? Like that little extra, like, I want you to lose. My boy. So that's the kind of games we're creating at Rival Fantasy, is that extra layer of fun, that stuff that isn't there right now. We feel like it's a hole in the market. And so we're trying to give it to you guys. We want to, give you guys that extra layer of fun. So what Richard just did there is exactly what we do. And I do this again, even as a Raider fan, I send these out all day long and people accept them because you guys think the Raiders suck. That's the problem. But for me, it's good. It's been good business for me. I've been taking advantage of it for sure. What other injuries are we looking at? The Packers are beat up like crazy, but I do like Jayden Reed a lot this week. I think that, Watson, I don't know if he's going to miss it. I think he will, but either way, I feel like Reed has just been flourishing in this offense. He's like the underrated guy here, man. Like we don't talk about him enough. We talk about Dobbs. We talk about Watson. We talk about Aaron Jones. We talk about all the guys we all know, but Jayden Reed has been like this. If you just look at what Jayden Reed has done this season, he's been crushing it in terms of not just expectation, but just like he's been a real savior for this team on offense. He's a playmaker across the board. So he's been really crushing it. I think if we look at the season totals, he's actually the leader out of the wide receivers. I think he's outscored Dobbs, of course, Watson, who hasn't played, here and there, but he's been a real gem in that offense. So I think Reed balls out this week. I also have him on my not so obvious locks of the week at wide receiver. So again, if you guys want to know, not so obvious locks are my players who I think, let me actually bring it up here really quick so you guys can see on time. I'll bring the article up. That way it's a little easier to share. Let me do that. Yeah. All right. So this is on the This is on Rival Fantasy as well. You can get to our articles on there, the YouTube videos, all that kind of stuff right on the site. But I do this article here, not so obvious locks of the week. And so I have Joe Flacco at quarterback. Let me bring it full screen. I have Joe Flacco at quarterback as my not so obvious lock of the week. And what these are guys who are not ranked inside the top 10, on consensus rankings, but that I believe have the upside to finish there if things go out well. So Joe Flacco for me at quarterback, Zeke Elliott at running back, who was running back 1 last week in PPR. Jaden Reed is my wide receiver, and then I have Taysom Hill at tight end. So yeah, this is where I'm going. Not so obvious lock of the week. I always wonder who you guys have. A lot of times people drop them in the comments and stuff on the videos, like who they like or they disagree with me. The cool thing about this is one of the cool things. I think people. Richard said he likes the Reed call. He does like Dobbs better. Yeah, for sure. I love Dobbs a lot too. Reed's a little more of a playmaker in terms of they're going to hand him the ball. They're going to let him do stuff rushing. They're going to let him, do things a little bit differently. So, but that's the cool thing with fantasy is like a lot of times when we create this fantasy content and we give this advice after the fact, if the advice doesn't pan out, people love to jump in the comments like, hope you didn't listen to this advice. Oh, thanks. That really helped. Unsubscribe, stuff like that. But then they're not acknowledging that they're looking at it hindsight 2020. They could look at it easily after the fact, right? And they can say whatever they want. But on top of that, they're not acknowledging all the W's you had, all the wins you had that week. So you could hit 3 out of 4, things that you say, but they're gonna knock you on the one. It's just funny. Richard said he's not worried about the high ankle sprain. That's fair, man. That's fair. Yeah, it's a lot of ankle injuries going on right now. The season has, wear it on people. So we got Isaiah Pacheco. That obviously is a situation. Another guy that I talked about on the Riser episode and the article was Jerick McKinnon, right? Like this is a guy I like a lot. I've liked him a lot. He had never actually fully developed into what people wanted him to. But like in the Chiefs offense, if we remember last year, right around this time, actually a little earlier, he started to really flourish. He started to really get going when they needed him. And I think it's the same thing now. People were asking me last week on live stream, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, this, that. I don't like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I am not a fan of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You'll never get me to tell you to start him, probably no matter who you give me. I'm never going to say start Clyde Edwards-Helaire over whoever. So I'm a Jerick McKinnon guy. I like the upside of what he can do when he catches the ball. I just think that he's that guy they go to. Like they don't use him a lot all season, but I kind of wonder, like, is it for this moment? Like, is that what they're waiting for? Or is it just like their, weapon that they know they have up their sleeve? I don't know what the reason is that he doesn't get used more during the season. I guess it's just Isaiah Pacheco, but he's a perfect change of pace weapon for Mahomes in the offense. And he knows exactly how to operate it perfectly. So it's a really clutch thing. Yeah. Richard said McKinnon clutch every year at the end of the season and going into the playoffs for sure, man. Like, and obviously, as Raider fans, Richard's a Raider fan as well. We're not happy to hear that because they're Chiefs, but it's just a fact. It's just a fact. Which also, speaking of Jerick McKinnon and the Raiders, they play us next week. So Monday the 25th, Raiders versus Chiefs. That's another interesting thing. Like playoff wise, if you're thinking fantasy playoffs and you see that matchup as Chiefs players, Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice, McKinnon, are you excited? Or are you kind of looking at it like it's a bad thing now? Because the Raiders defense has been, on fire, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. They've been on fire. Someone actually asked me earlier in the week, Raiders defense, or I forget who the other defense they were asking. And I said, go with Raiders, man. Go with the Raiders defense. Just trust me. And they went with the Raiders defense. And obviously it, panned out in a great way for them. So, the Raiders are legit. The Raiders defense is legit for sure. The offense is figuring itself out. I guess after you score 63 points, it's about as legit as it could be, but you just got to see it happen week in and week out. And it'll be interesting from a fantasy perspective again with the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell, like, do they continue to roll with him next year? Do they draft a quarterback in the first round? These are things in Dynasty, which we'll do more Dynasty content as the season ends. I know someone else asked me in the comments on YouTube this week if we're going to be doing Dynasty content. Yes, we will. We'll do more Dynasty content. I just got to figure out the best way to approach it. Also, Broncos scored, I believe. Let me just check really quick. Unless they're kicking field goals. I don't know. Let me see. Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson ran a touchdown. So this is what I was talking about. The game wasn't over yet. Russell Wilson was very uninspiring. up until this point, but I believe he just rushed a touchdown in. So yeah, he rushed a touchdown in. So over 200 yards passing now, a throw-in touchdown and a rushing touchdown. So that should help a little bit. That should help lighten that, disappointment that you might have had so far. So that's a positive. See, just gotta let it play out a little bit. Right now, it's looking like as long as you didn't start Mitchell Trubisky, you're not crying too badly in these Saturday games, because that's the quarterback that's killed you right now. But I love these questions that I keep seeing about other quarterbacks in terms of, should I start Brown in? Should I start, these certain guys that you wouldn't think people were starting, but they are. And that either means you guys are playing in deeper leagues, which I love to hear, or you're dealing with injuries and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, Jake Browning, a legit option for people right now. Joe Flacco, a legit option for people right now. Don't fade these guys just because of their names or because you don't have as much confidence in them. Again, I answered the question earlier, Goff or Tua. And I know Tua's the hot name. I know Tua has been balling. I know Tua's this fun offense, but I said Goff. And Goff is not a fun name necessarily, but he's in a legit, top flight offense, and he gets himself into some shootouts. And so this week it's panning out really well. I don't know how Tua's going to play, so we'll see. Who else is injured? I know the Packers running backs are always beat up. Nothing new there. Wide receivers for Texans are beat up. I don't really care because I'm not starting them now because Stroud's out. If like Nico Collins plays and then you have Keenum throw into him, I'm not excited about it, guys. I'm not excited about it. I don't know how Nico's gonna do with Chase, Keenum throw into him. I'm not excited about it. He is just not CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is special. Although Nico did do some things with Davis Mills. So, I'm not saying that he's not worth anything without Stroud, but it definitely is. Oh, Collins is out? He's officially out? Damn, the Texans are just hurting now, right? They're having such a good season, too. Let me see. God, they were having such a good season. I hate to hear that. That's a bummer. Well, that's one less thing for you to worry about then. It's one less thing for you to worry about. I miss out on some of the latest news. I was at my son's travel basketball game. It's like an all-day affair, these tournaments. Yeah, no Tank Dell, no Nico. Nico's banged up. Where am I seeing Nico out, though? I haven't seen it yet. But either way, when I'm at these tournaments, I miss a whole bunch of stuff. And so sometimes I miss the latest news. But I haven't seen it yet. Where are you? Where did you see that, Richard? Where did you see that Collins was out? It's a legit question, my man. Legit question. Okay. All right. Really quickly, let me check this game. Oops. Okay. Whoa. Okay. If you have Sam Laporta, you are a happy man right now, or happy woman. Sam Laporta is 56 yards and 3 damn touchdowns today. 5 receptions. Crushing it. And Jared Goff, 278, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Come on, man. He's got to get an air horn at this point. 5 touchdowns, fantasy playoffs. Come on. Jared Goff crushing it. Actually, on top of that, he needs an applause. Oh, Rachel says, sorry, my bad question. I thought he was out. Yeah, he might end up being, but who knows? But yeah, I didn't see it yet, so I was a little thrown off there. But I definitely missed things, so I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, we've been on here for 45 minutes with you guys. I kind of wanted to see how this game ended. Obviously, 2 scores just happened really quickly back to back there too, so that's a lot. Chris Godwin is hurt, knee injury. Stevenson, obviously, Ramondre Stevenson. So I mean, there's a lot of players who are beat up coming into this week, and you just have to really decide, what you're gonna do, man. Like, this is where it all comes down to. This is the biggest week of them all. Professor X, PPR, Schultz or Spears in flex? That's a good question. I don't know if you know me, Professor X, but I'm a big Spears fan. I'm a big Spears fan, but let me think about this for a second. Schultz, no Stroud. That I just said a second ago really, really concerns me. Tyjae Spears is playing Houston. So I think they're gonna. I think Titans are gonna smack them. Spears has been good lately, and I know people feel like it's a little, concerning. Like, how is he gonna do with Henry? And it's still Henry's team. Blah 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 blah. I'm gonna tell you, I'm going Tyjae Spears, man. I'm not risking it with Dalton Schultz. Richard says Schultz might be the only option to throw to. Yeah, he might be, but that's also a problem. Because if he's the only person the defense is focusing on, I don't want no problem with part of that. Listen, he's been hurt, he's been beat up. This Texans offense, in my opinion, will have the wind taken out of them with Stroud being out and with Nico Collins beat up and Tank Dell now gone. I'm not gonna go with Schultz here. I'm gonna go with Spears. Spears has been lighting it up, man. He's been doing really good. He's a fun player. He's exciting. He gets things done, through the air, rushing a little bit. So he could break a run for a lot of yards. I know he's not going to get a ton of carries because that is Henry's job, but he can break a carry for a lot of yards. Or on the flip side, you get a ton of receptions, tons of targets, lots of yards. There's just a way, but I just like it better, man. Spears is more exciting to me. Now, I don't know if you've had any players in these Saturday games, if you're kind of down or if you're doing good. That you could also hedge it a little bit there, but I'm definitely saying Spears in the flex, Professor X. Also, guys, if you're joining us, I appreciate you guys greatly for being a part of the conversation. You don't have to just ask questions. You can also be a part of the conversation, answer other people's questions. Don't forget the poll is up there. I'm actually going to take this poll down and start another one. Basically, everyone said yes, they're enjoying these Saturday games. So that's awesome. I'm glad everyone's having fun with those. I know sometimes they get people a little scared in fantasy. They get a little nervous about playing players before Sunday. But yeah, I'm glad everyone's enjoying them overall. Let me ask another question. I'm going to put another question up in the poll. Let's see. Let's see what you guys do with this one. Let's see. Ready? I want to see if you guys are going to go with old man or young man. All right, new poll up. New poll is up. All right, let me go to Professor X. By the way, everybody here, if you guys are watching, please go ahead and like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. It means the world to me. It only takes you 2 seconds, but again, it means everything to us. So shout out to everyone here who's liked this video, who subscribed to the channel, whether you're, if you're new, I appreciate it. Beast mode, Purdy or Hurts. My league has bad drafters. I like how you threw that caveat in there, Beast Mode, that your league has bad drafters. Very slick, because you're sitting on 2 top flight quarterbacks, sir. And my next question was going to be, how do you have them both? So you hit the caveat. I appreciate it, because when that does come up, right? When I see questions come up and it's like, which wide receiver do I start? Pick one. Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill. It's like, what is going on here? How is this happening? How do you have all these wide receivers, sir? So yeah, I'm glad you do the caveat up there. So Jalen Hurts or Purdy. Jalen Hurts is playing Seattle. Okay. Not a horrible defense. He played, he had a rough week last week. But that's not common, right? Like, that's not the common thing for him. So you're not going to look at his low scoring week and think this is who he is. Play a tough defense, and you're not going to sit here and think like, oh, he's, that's who he is. Or, you shouldn't have concern because of one game. He is sick, has an illness, I believe it was. But he's going to be fine with that. I'm not concerned about that either. So if you're seeing that, I'm not concerned with it. Now, on the flip side, Brock Purdy playing Arizona. Now, that's a totally different defense. You might not be afraid of Seattle necessarily, but you love when you see the Cardinals come up. He played well against them earlier in the year. So you can expect, I think, a similar type of game in terms of, I think it's safe to say Purdy will have like 20 fantasy points at least. But Purdy's been playing really well too, right? So my thing comes down to this. Purdy is a safer play. Purdy is a safer play. So if you're looking for like the quarterback who's not going to have some fluke game and like crush you by any means, then Purdy's fine. But for me, I'm always going to go with the Jalen Hurts type of quarterback because he can run with the ball. He scores touchdowns on his feet. I love that aspect of it. And his upside is higher, right? So if I need that monster week, if I need to score a lot of points, this is the fantasy playoffs. Things are real right now. I want the guy who can score me 30 plus points if possible. I want the guy who can also score if things get tough and he can't get the ball passed and he can rush in the touchdown, or if he gets to the goal line, they may go with him to the high probability, right? So I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts, right? Like I'm going to go with the stud here. I like Brock Purdy. I think he's a good quarterback. It reminds me of the conversation with Cam Newton that he brought up about, is Brock Purdy a game manager or is he a game changer? Is Jalen Hurts a game manager or is he a game changer? For me, like Jalen Hurts is the game changer. Like he's the game winning quarterback, right? Like he's the guy who changes and alters games. Brock Purdy, while I think he's really good, I think a lot of his flourishing is because of the offense that he's in, the coaches that he has calling plays. And so I'm in the fantasy playoffs. I'm going with the guy who I want to lead my team, the guy who I want, the game changer. So long way to answer, but I'm going with Jalen Hurts, man. But that's a great problem to have. Of course, with all my advice, the caveat as always, go with your gut, fall on your sword, because if you lose, you'll be really mad at me if you go with what I say. You'll be less mad at yourself if you go with what you say. So at least be mad at yourself if things go terrible. But I'm saying Jalen Hurts. Let me know what you do. Come back after this weekend and let me know what you did, Beast Mode. I'm curious who you go with. I think either way, you're in a good position. And either way, neither guy is going to lose you the week. So you're in a good spot. You're in a really good spot with that. Richard said Purdy is his pick against the Cardinals. Respect. Professor X said, I also have Josh Allen and bench Jared Goff. Yeah, see, this is one of those situations, but I'm not mad at you for that because to me, Josh Allen, man, and here's the thing, dude, Josh Allen plays Dallas, right? So you're like, damn, like a horrible matchup in terms of like defense, right? Like this is not a defense you want to face in the playoffs. But how often does Josh Allen have a bad game? Like really think about it. It's not that often because the worst thing about the Bills is their defense. And so at the very least, he's usually caught up in a shootout. He's usually caught out in a high scoring game where he has to rebound in that game and score points. Yes, he didn't play a great game against the Jets week 1. I think he struggled a little bit against the Giants. It wasn't a great game. And then against Denver again, those are some tough defenses though. Even the Giants are an underrated defense. So a little bit of trauma, a little bit of trouble for him against some of those elite defenses. So Dallas scares you when you see that, right? And he goes off against really bad defenses. If you put Josh Allen against a really bad defense, he's going to go off. But against some of those tough defenses, things get a little weird. So now you're looking at the Jared Goff game and you're like, damn it, could have had me 5 touchdowns right now. But I'm not mad at you again because I would go with Josh Allen at that point. And again, that's a tough situation, Professor X. Like it's a really legitimate tough situation. But I would go with Josh Allen. So I would have did what you did. We both would be looking back at Jared Goff right now. We'd be really hoping that the fantasy gods look down on Josh Allen tomorrow because that is, one of those tough ones. Richard said he thinks Depot is going to burn that defense. Yeah, he probably will. The Joker, shout out to the Joker. Appreciate you for joining the chat. Full PPR, pick 1, Devon Achane with injury, Chuba Hubbard, Jerome Ford, Calvin Ridley. I have Raheem as my RB1. Okay, so I spoke about Achane a second ago. Not a second ago, but a little bit a while ago. And here's my thing. Like, I'm not willing to take the risk, okay? I'm not willing to take the risk. Sure, could he play? Sure. Could he have a good game? Sure. But I'm not going there, okay? He's questionable for week 15. It's versus the Jets. Like, I'm just not messing with the knee in this pivotal moment. You could play around in the middle of the season. I'm not playing around right now. You already have Raheem, who's also, is a little injured, but at least I think, he's going to play. I don't think it's that serious. I think he's off the injury report already. So he's fine. And even though the Jets are a good defense, like he played them earlier in the season, not even that long ago. I think it was week 12 and he played well. So like, I'm not concerned about that in that sense. So good job there. So now we have 1 to pick. I'm taking Achane off the board, right? So we're done with that. We're done with Achane. Now we look at Chuba, Jerome, and Calvin Ridley. Yeah, see, Richard said he's avoiding Achane. He's rolling with Ford. So like this is how I look at it. I like Ford a lot. I've been kind of trusting Ford all season. He's been just steady. And just kind of, if you want 12, 13, 14, that's Jerome Ford, right? Like he's not going to hurt you really, but he's also not going to like probably rip it up. He's probably not going to win you. You're not going to look back and go, damn, good thing I started Jerome Ford because he just won that for me. Not likely to happen. But at the same time, he's not likely to kill you. He's going to play Chicago. So pretty good defense, actually. Pretty good run defense. So that's kind of a tough matchup. You got Chuba playing Atlanta, who is not really a tough matchup. So that's a good one. I think I'm going to go Chuba over Ford. I'm going Chuba over Ford. And the last player you said was Ridley, right? So if we look at Ridley, just want to double check here. Ridley is playing Baltimore. That's a tough matchup, man. That's a tough matchup. Yeah. I'm gonna say Chuba. I'm gonna go with Chuba. Ford is the safe play. 12, 13 points, playing a tough defense. Ridley has his weeks. He goes off. He goes away. He goes off. He goes away. I'm not willing to gamble it this week in a pivotal moment. Chuba is safe. Chuba's safe. He's playing a, defense. He gets a lot of touches. Miles Sanders hasn't affected him. He gets a little bit of passing work. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's kind of like, not a lot, but it's there. They know how to use it when they use it. So, and I like his chance to score. Honestly, man, that's my big difference maker here between all these guys. I just think he's more likely to score. So yeah, Joker, I would go with Chuba, man. I would go with Chuba. Richard, if you're not penalized for turnover, I would go with Allen. Yes, I'm avoiding A-Chain. Charlie Gwynn, ATL defense at Carolina or New Orleans defense at home versus the Giants. So, man, you're either going against Bryce Young or you're going against Tommy DeVito. So, which one do you want to bet your boys against? Against the struggling rookie? I know I just talked about Chuba, but the struggling rookie, or do you want the Saints defense against Tommy DeVito? Saints defense obviously played really well last week against Carolina. That's the thing, right? So against Carolina, think about it. The Saints put up 21 fantasy points against Carolina. And now you're thinking, do I play Atlanta defense against Carolina? So we know Carolina is an offense that likes to give it up to the defenses. So that's a good sign for ATL. I think that the Saints face a tougher matchup with Barkley, potentially Waller returning. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet, but that's up on the table. DeVito has been okay, right? Like he's kind of like how do I describe DeVito? DeVito's kind of like Gardner Minshew-ish, Baker Mayfield-ish. Like he's not amazing, right? Like he's not this amazing quarterback. He's not like the future at quarterback, but he is just like a gamer. He's a gamer. He's like this guy that likes to just, he's a fighter. He's a guy that can win games, right? So, I'd rather go ATL defense, Charlie. It just feels better. Carolina's been putting up a lot of, filling a lot of DST's stats up for them. So I would go with ATL. And this is the playoffs. Like I don't want to mess around with it. Saints defense is good though, man. Like either way, you're okay. Like I would say both these defenses are probably top 10 this week, top 12, top 10. Yeah, top 10. So I don't think you're in a bad spot no matter who you start, but I would go with ATL. Again, if you guys are watching, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the support. Go ahead and hit that like button, vote on the poll, subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to 500 subs. We're trying to get there. I think the last time I checked, we were at like 450. Like we're close. So if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Tell your family to subscribe. Get your grandmother on the line. Hey, grandma. Hey, subscribe to this YouTube channel real quick. Support the show. We appreciate it. Drop it on YouTube. Drop it on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you're at. Tell your friends. Come check it out. We appreciate the support. Reminder that this show is brought to you by Rival Fantasy. If you're not familiar with Rival Fantasy, this is right where we're at, baby. Rival Fantasy is that one fantasy platform for you to stop at. Let me go ahead and log in real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let me log in for you real quick because I want you guys to understand that Rival Fantasy has everything you need right now. It has everything you need. All right. I got it. You see stuff like this on Rival Fantasy. Challenges. Patrick Mahomes, $5 right now. $5 versus Jalen Hurts. Who will score more fantasy points? Very simple. Lots of fun. You click on the player you want. You put the amount you want. Go check it out. Richard killing Neil. You are killing it, my friend. We are killing it. Fellow Raider fans, we are killing it, my friend. But thank you. Appreciate it. Go to Rival Fantasy. Check it out. You could do challenges. Very simple. Add me on here as a friend. Oh, look, I got a notification. That was the challenge that I got from him earlier today. And it clears out. Follow me. Add me on here at Clock Dodgers, CLOCKDODGERS. I will challenge you. I will accept your challenges. Don't get crazy. I'm not going to get robbed by you, but make it fair. Make it fun. If you don't like the challenge in front of you, look at this. Dak Prescott, $20. $20 on Dak Prescott over Patrick Mahomes against the Patriots. These are what's out here for you. You can accept any side you want. You can skip it and say, I don't like this one. And just do whatever you want. $10 on Lamar Jackson. These are the things that are out there. Again, you can create your own challenges. You can do NBA. You can do whatever you want. Fantasy Bingo. This is the card I created earlier today. These are my players that I picked. No salary cap, none of that stuff. And these are the achievements I'm trying to hit. Honestly, that top row ain't too crazy. Not too crazy. What else? A lot of good ones here. Yeah, I can see some of these in my future. I can see some of these in my future to win this bad boy. Even some negative ones like a fumble loss. Matthew Stafford can fumble the ball for me. Let's go. 75 yards, tight end. 90 receiving yards, running back. Kyron and Zeke can do that. 3 total touchdowns for wide receiver. A.J. Brown all day. 100 receiving yards. Come on, I got this in the bag. So, yeah, that's bingo. $1 card. Look at the prize pool right now. Over $1,200. Killing it. Go check it out. RivalFantasy.com if you want to do it on PC, Mac, whatever your thing is, or just download the Rival Fantasy Sports app. My boy Richard said, I have 10 bingo cards. I'll have 10 by the end of the week, too, before tomorrow. I'll do it, too, man. Trust me. I get crazy on bingo cards. For $1, come on. Like down here, I want a bingo card for $200. I'll take it. Season long. Yeah, everything's going good. All right, cool. So we've been on this for over an hour, guys. I don't see any other questions popping up in the chat. The game is over. All Saturday games are over. So we're good there. We talked about injuries. We've recapped the Saturday games. We've answered your questions in the chat. We've talked about Rival Fantasy. I think we've covered it all, honestly. I think we covered it all. Oh, hold on. Douglas Sears. Hey, bro. Hope you're having a good night. I am having a good night. I hope you're having a better night. I hope you're having even a better night. I hope you have an even better day tomorrow, too. Thank you for joining the chat. Let me know your PPR question. You said you have a PPR flex question? Drop the players' names. Let's talk about it, Douglas. Shout out to everybody who subscribed to the channel today. Shout out to everybody who's liked this video. Let's get us to 450 today, guys, before this stream's over. Get us to 450 subscribers. Come on, I think we just need one more. Also, let me check how this poll's going. Damn. Everybody trusts Joe Flacco over Bailey Zappi. No Bailey Zappi love. Douglas, drop your question in the chat, my boy. Drop your question in the chat. I want to get to your question. Let me see here. Get out of this. Make sure there's no other questions on the videos that I'm missing. Because sometimes people will drop questions on the videos, like the recorded videos that are already out or the shorts, and then I miss those. So I want to make sure I don't miss them while we're on here streaming, because I won't be on here tomorrow morning. Douglas, drop your question. Let's see. Also, shout out to the viewer, James Jeffers, who was watching one of my videos, seen the Lost poster back here, and literally his comment on the video was, is that a Dharma Initiative poster from Lost? I said, why, yes, it is, James. And James said, you just earned yourself a subscriber, my friend. Just like that. Never seen your videos before. Great content. The first time ever watching them. Are you going to do Dynasty content? Yes, I will. But he said, just for that lost poster, you're getting a subscriber. That's why we do this. That's why we do this. Love it. Douglas, what happened, man? You said, hey, bro, you're having a good night. You were very kind. Need a PPR flex, and you didn't give me the players' names. I need the names, Douglas. Drop the names. Again, also, guys, if you go to the description of this video, there's a link for Rival Fantasy. If you've never deposited on there, when you sign up, use that promo, use that link, and you'll get up to $200 match on your first deposit, plus a $25 free voucher too. So I just wanted to mention that really quick. Douglas, I want to answer your question, but you got to drop it because I'm going to end this stream in a couple minutes here. Does anybody else have any questions before we join the stream? My Raiders already played. I'm feeling good about the week. I'm already on a high note. Hold on. Did I miss it? No. Okay. Not yet. Okay, cool. Let me see here really quick. Okay. Yeah, ended the poll. Okay, cool. That's good. All right, we're good, guys. Let me just bring up this really quick question for you guys. Okay. On here. Challenges. Tua. Ain't no chance. Who had the Brock Purdy question in here earlier? Where was it? Beast mode. Look at this, beast mode. Your boy Brock versus Patrick Mahomes. How far Brock Purdy has come. That he is literally in a challenge versus Patrick Mahomes, and he's the guy who got the money on him already. That's a beautiful thing. That's the beauty about football, about fantasy football, about the NFL, about sports. That is the beauty. That is the absolute beauty of fantasy. Okay, I don't think Douglas is going to get this question over to me. He said he had a question. I hate to end it without answering Douglas's question. I really do. I'm trying to give Douglas a couple minutes here, but Douglas is, I don't know if he's typing out the question. I'm going to feel really bad if I miss it, if I end it before he asks it and I just like bounce on him. That'd be terrible. Which game are you guys most looking forward to tomorrow? Now that the Raiders don't play tomorrow. Oh, you know what? I didn't speak about the Raiders game in terms of a fantasy perspective. I totally blanked on this. The Raiders played on Thursday, 63-21 against the Chargers. When we look at it, Easton Stick still actually finished the game with 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards passing. Obviously, it was a brutal game. I mean, he threw 1 interception, but it was a brutal game overall for the Chargers. And I'm not blaming that on Easton Stick or the fact that Justin Herbert wasn't there. I just think that the Raiders outplayed them completely. Austin Eckler is horrible at this point, and this sucks for me because I'm such a huge Austin Eckler fan. I have so many teams with Austin Eckler, so many teams. So it's been unfortunate to see like this slow demise. Spiller was the leading rusher with 50 yards. Palmer, 113 yards and a touchdown. He's legit. I know it was one big play, but he's pretty legit. He can do these things. Quentin Johnson also had a touchdown. Not a lot of yards or receptions, but, Richard said Easton Stick did that in 1 quarter. Yeah, it was brutal the whole game, and then he like really stepped it up. But in terms of, I think it was the 3rd and 4th quarter he scored, but still, it was, what we really need to talk about is Aiden O'Connell. 248 and 4 touchdowns. Like, and what was funny to me was going into the game, everybody was like, I'm really looking forward to seeing Easton Stick play today. I'm really looking forward to Easton Stick. And then Aiden O'Connell smacks you with 63. Aiden O'Connell smacks you with 63. You can say it was a fluke. You can say whatever you want. Putting up 63 points ain't easy. So Aiden O'Connell, real question going into next season for me. Like, what is going to happen here? Like, are the Raiders going to draft a quarterback in the first round? They're probably going to have a somewhat early pick. They could trade up for an earlier pick. There's a lot of quarterbacks in the draft, some that are more interesting than others, more legitimate than others in the NFL. But Aiden O'Connell fighting for these, last few games, trying to prove that he deserves, the opportunity here. Jacoby Myers threw a touchdown. That was fun. This game got totally out of hand. Zamir White filled in for Josh Jacobs, had a little over, between passing and receiving, he had over 70 yards. I think almost 80, actually, over 80. yards. He had a touchdown. Brandon Bolden had a touchdown. Nice little play. Devontae Adams went for over 100 yards and touchdown. That was my favorite thing of the day. Like, did you see Devontae Adams, how happy he looked, on the sideline dancing, over 100 yards and 8 receptions and a touchdown. Trey Tucker, the rookie, 2 touchdowns, 59 yards. Michael Mayer, the rookie, 39 yards and a touchdown. Jacoby Myers, 32 yards and a touchdown. Just an overall game. Now, of course, we can't expect this to happen every single week, but I mean, it's pretty beautiful, right? Like the Raiders offense is still legit. For fantasy, you go, well, Aiden O'Connell doesn't stop Devontae Adams from being good. He doesn't stop the playmakers from scoring points. You don't have to have that concern. Zaguak Boy. I hope I'm saying your name right. Zaguak Boy. Nice little dog in the picture there for your avatar. Walker or Zeke? Walker or Zeke? I've been talking up Zeke so damn much today, sir. So damn much. But Kenneth Walker's also really good. But yeah, I've been talking up Zeke a lot today and this week and in every video I posted. And I'm a big Zeke fan, man. Zeke's playing Kansas City. I understand the defense is like pretty good. But so was Pittsburgh. And Zeke went off. He had a solid game against the Chargers. I'm not afraid of KC's defense. So, like, for what that's worth, I'm not concerned, right? I'm assuming Kenneth Walker, I mean, he's playing again. He's healthy, but he's playing Philly. Philly has a legitimate tough defense. So I'm going Zeke, man. I'm going Zeke. I've been talking up Zeke a lot. He's, on my risers of the week. I just think he's going to have a really good week, man. He's really taking advantage of this opportunity without Stevenson there. And Bailey Zappi, I think, helps the offense a lot. So I'm going to go with Zeke. Walker also has other competition in the backfield. It's not as, clear, right? Like there's other playmakers back there. The receivers do a lot. Gino's beat up. It's too much for me. Too risky against the Eagles. Zay Guac boy. So I'm going with Zeke with that, man. Dude, you're naming all the players that I love this week. You got another one here. Ridley or Jaden Reed? I'm gonna say Jalen Reed, man. Jaden Reed. I like Ridley. I talked about him earlier in someone else's questions. He's playing Baltimore. He's a little too boom bust for me. He has a couple good weeks and crappy weeks, good weeks, crappy weeks. With him playing Baltimore, like I don't really want a part of that. Jaden Reed's playing Tampa. The Packers offense needs him to score. Like they're all beat up in all kinds of ways, like at running back, at wide receiver. Like they need Jaden Reed to score. And he's been doing really good at it. So I think last week he actually had his best game of the season, if I recall. So Jaden Reed, man. Jaden Reed for me. So Zeke and Reed. And those are two players I actually really love a lot this week. So I know they were like questions for you, like which guy you want to start over the other, but I like both a lot this week. It's not like, oh, so tough. Both are really like, I like them both a lot. So I think you have good matchups there for both of those guys. Shout out to you. Appreciate you for joining. Appreciate you for watching. Appreciate you for jumping in the conversation. Hopefully you like this video. Hopefully you subscribed. We need 450, guys. We need 450 subscribers before we get this episode. Zay Guac boy, do me a favor. Hit like on the video. And then hit subscribe. I love you, man. I appreciate you. He says, should I start Rashee Rice over Ridley too? I would start Rashee Rice over Ridley. I like the upside of Ridley. Like I get it. Like he does go off, right? Like that happens. But again, he's playing a tough defense. He's been very inconsistent. Like if you go back and you look at his stats, like it's like very low, like under 10 points for a bunch of weeks. Then he goes crazy. Then under 10 points for a bunch of weeks. At this point, sure, that upside is nice to have in the fantasy playoffs. But Rashee Rice on the flip side has been very consistent, right? Like he's double digit most weeks. A bad week for him is under 10 points. And then in between there, it's like 14, 18, 17, 13, like pretty good. So I like the consistency of him. I'm not afraid of New England as a defense. And I think Rice is like the most if you think about it, Rice this is just the last 3 weeks, 10 targets, 9 targets, 10 targets from Patrick Mahomes and an Andy Reid offense in a solid matchup. I like it, man. Like Rashee Rice, there's a lot to like about Rashee Rice. So definitely Rashee Rice. Richard also said Jaden Reed. He also said Zeke with me. He also agreed with Rice. So we're on the same page on a lot of this. Rich Hicks, should I go London or JSN? Weather in Carolina is supposed to be bad. DST Ravens or Jets if Hill doesn't play. Wait, DST Jet. Okay. So that's a DST question. Okay, so let's go with the first question first. So you asked London or JSN. Drake London or JSN. I'm a fan of both, right? So like there's no shade on their talents. You're right about the weather in Carolina. It is supposed to be bad. London went off last week. It was a sweet matchup too, though. But he's another guy who's been pretty consistent. On the flip side, JSN playing Philly, their defense can get beat in the passing game. I think it's going to be like a shootout in that game. It could be a pretty high scoring game, but Geno Smith is also a little beat up, which does scare me. And JSN definitely has more competition for targets. JSN has to do with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, a couple talented running backs. Drake London doesn't really have that, in his way, right? So there's a whole bunch of things here to look at. The targets that are harder to come by, but the defense he's playing is better. On the flip side, Drake London, he's going to get the targets. So we're talking about 11 targets last week alone. Went crazy. He's got the hot hand. Man, it's a tough one. This is a tough matchup. This is a tough question. I think in the playoffs, when it's all on the line, you can't drop the ball here. Like, this is a big week for you. So I'm gonna say Drake London. I just like the fact that he's gonna get all the targets. And I understand the weather concerns you, but I like the fact that he's gonna get all the targets. And I always say also, guys, a caveat that I keep saying, and I say it every episode, is fall on your sword. So if you lose, you'll be less upset if you went with your guy. So if your gut is saying to go with a certain guy, like if your gut is saying go JSN, go with him. And just understand that if you lose, like who cares? You just didn't listen to that guy at Rival Fantasy. And then Drake goes off. But if Drake goes off, you're going to think about that. If Drake doesn't go off and you just went with him because of me, then you're going to be pissed off at me. But go with your gut, man. Go who you feel. But I like Drake London. I'm going with my studs. It's the fantasy playoffs. I'm going with the guys who get all the targets, who, are playmakers, who are their guys, their guys' team that they have to depend on. JSN is great. He could do really good. The upside is all there, so you're not in a bad spot. But I just like Drake London more. On the flip side, Richard likes JSN. Randy Miller, you think Reek plays? That's a good question, man. I feel like he's going to play. I feel like he's going to play. How much does it matter is the question. Because I'm in Florida, I'm in West Palm Beach. The weather is bad. The weather's terrible right now. It's been bad all week, right? This isn't like just tomorrow. There might be some clouds. It might be bad. It might not be. Sometimes, the weather will be like, hey, it might be really bad tomorrow. And then like nothing happens. It's really bad out here. So the weather is going to suck. There is no question about it. The weather is going to suck. Add into the fact that Tyreek's hurt. Add into the fact that the O-line's beat up. Add into the fact that A-Chain may not play because he's beat up. There's a lot of like ugly things happening right now for that Dolphins team. And so it's like weird to like say bench Tyreek or like, there's someone better than Tyreek out there for you because we know he's the best wide receiver in football, at least from a fantasy perspective. He's absolutely ridiculous. So, I doubt that they're going to tell us he's out until the game starts. The question is do you have a better option? You know what I mean? Do you have a better option? Randy, I don't know if you do. I don't know what your team looks like all the way through, but I think he'll probably play unless they're trying to protect him for the playoffs. I think there's something you're just gonna have to wait till the game starts and make that decision right then because that's when it's going to be announced. What happens, and you're gonna be in a tough spot, man. But yeah, Zay Flowers or Devonta Smith. I've been talking up Zay Flowers this week, but I love Devonta Smith, so I'm gonna lean Devonta Smith. I just think he's the better option. Zay Flowers is a little less safer for me, but he does have a good matchup. He's been 2 weeks back to back with 20 plus games. Again, another situation where I don't think you can go wrong, right? Like whichever guy you go with, I don't think either one's gonna burn you. I don't think either guy is going to make you regret it. But at the same time, I just like Devonta Smith more. I think I like Jalen Hurts more. I just like the situation more. I think that Seattle game could be more of a shootout. With Zay Flowers, it could be a quiet game. Like it could be a not a crazy game. So yeah, I'm going to lean Devonta Smith on that one. But if you can get both in your lineup, who are you sitting for that, Randy? Who are you not playing? I mean, who are you playing besides that? Like, who's your flex or who's the other wide receivers you're playing? I'm just curious. Dylan Fink, what up? Had Raiders DST. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. And Mixon clutched up in the end, playing against a stacked team with Tyreek and AMSA. Other guys like, yeah, guys. So I'm stressed. Hey, Dylan, I feel you. Listen, you playing the Raiders defense. Salute to you. I'm a Raider fan. Salute to you for going there, right? Because in the fantasy playoffs, a lot of people will be afraid to do that. They'll be afraid to trust the Raiders in that moment. So you're getting some air horns. You know what? You're gonna get an applause too. Shout out to anybody who started the Raiders defense. Yeah, man, you have a tough matchup ahead of you, but you're here, man. You're built for this. You're built for this. Great start so far, you said. I hope Reek and A-Chain sit. I feel you on that in your situation. Richard also said he's going with Smith. Okay, let's see. What do you say? Oops, my fault. Tried sending those separately. Okay, all full PPR. Pick 2. Dylan's hitting us with some real ones here, guys. Help out in the comments, guys. If you're watching, feel free to jump into this. You don't have to just let me answer these questions. We want you guys to answer too. We want you guys to be a part of the conversation. Full PPR, pick 2. Pollard, Jaden Reed, James Cook. You can only pick 2. Damn, Dylan. Damn. I love those players, sir. And you're making me pick 2. You're making me do this for real? Are you serious right now, man? You serious? All right, let's break it down. Let's see why we're doing what we're going to do. Pollard has been on fire. Playing Buffalo, great defense. Reed, I talked about all day, playing Tampa, fantastic matchup. He's been on fire, and the Packers need him. James Cook, playing Dallas defense. That is going to be, and he's on fire too, right? So you try to find a reason to pick somebody, to sit somebody in this chaos here, in this, these awesome matchups that you have, these awesome players that you have. I know it would sound crazy to sit James Cook because he's just been doing really, really well. And Jaden Reed is the least big name of these guys. So if we're going off of name value, he's your sit, right? This is a really tough one for you, man. This is a really ridiculously hard. You got to pick 2. Why can you not have them all? Why can you not have them all? Why? Why, damn it? Why can we not have them all? I think that most people are going to tell you, if you ask this question to 10 groups, 9 out of 10 are going to say sit Reed. They're going to tell you sit Reed, go with the running backs. I think that's what Richard's saying. Oh yeah, he said Pollard and Cook. Most people are going to say you to sit Reed just because he's the least like Cook and Pollard are the guys who are like going to be force fed the work. Like there's no question, right? Reed can disappear. Reed doesn't have to be fed necessarily. I just like Reed a lot. And Reed has been fed a lot. And he's been really good when he's been fed. But I think if you have to only pick one to leave out, it's Reed. On the next one, pick 1, Waddle or Reed. Oh, man. Here's another one, right? Like, I just got done talking about how much I love Reed, and I'm not crazy about the Jets situation for Waddle, so I'm going to say Reed on this one. This one I am going to say Reed. Waddle, like, I love Waddle, right? Like, Waddle's a really good player. He's fun. The offense he's in is fun. But for me, I don't like the matchup. I don't like the weather. I don't like that the team is beat up. I don't like any of that. So I'm going to say sit Waddle on that one. DST. Wait, did I not answer the other person's question? Oh, no, I answered one question, right? Okay. Oh, no, I didn't. On Rich Hicks. Hold on. I'll come back to you, Dylan. On Rich Hicks, He asks, I got so caught up in London and JSN that I forgot to answer the DST part of this, which is also why I got remembered by Dylan's question where he asked about the DST. When it comes to Ravens or Jets, I'm going to say Ravens because I fear the Jacksonville's offense less, if that makes sense. I just think that even though I keep talking about the Miami team having a struggle against the Jets in this weather, I don't really want a part of that game. I just don't. So I'm going to go Ravens on that, Rich. Sorry about that. Back to Dylan. Back to Dylan here. He said Titans, DST, Saints, or Ravens. I'm going to again go with the Ravens here. I'm going to again go with the Ravens. Well, actually, no. Saints are playing the Giants. Saints are playing the Giants. It's tough for me. I keep thinking about Tommy DeVito. No, I'm just kidding. Barkley's a tough matchup. I would still roll with, man. I would take the Saints. I just think they're a safer bet for Tommy DeVito to mess up, throw some interceptions. Giants probably won't score a lot of points, so they'll keep the game low. The Ravens, Jacksonville can like counter them, right? Like they can counter back. Pick one, Jay Connor, Ford, or Singletary. Yikes. I'm not a big Connor fan, and I do like Singletary, but I don't like the Texans right now. So I would go Ford. Probably. Let me just double check. Connor's playing in San Francisco. Yeah, I would go Ford. It's just a safer bet for me. He's going to get you 12, 13, whatever it is. And see, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Don't ever ask that again, Dylan. Don't ever ask it again. I don't like Clyde Edwards-Helaire at all. I'm never going to pick him for anything. You could tell me you can say right now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire or a rock, and I would go with the rock on the floor. Clyde Edwards-Helaire or a goldfish, and I would say the goldfish. I would not pick Clyde Edwards-Helaire no matter what you said to me. And then pick one, DeVito, Keenum, Carr, Zach Wilson, Ritter, Flacco. Is this some kind of joke, Dylan? What is this? Let me find all the struggle quarterbacks and ask the question? Is that what we're doing here? Are we playing games? You playing games with me, man? I would take Flacco. I have him as my not so obvious lock of the week at quarterback. Not so obvious locks of the week for those who don't consume the content all the time are players who are not ranked inside the consensus top 10 at their position, but that I think have the upside to finish there. I would go at Flacco. I know he's playing Chicago. They're a good defense, yada, 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 but the rest of these guys don't excite me. Ain't no way I'm starting Carr. Their fans hate him. His teammates hate him. Zach Wilson is another guy that I'm also, do it for me twice, man. Do it for me twice in a row. He's playing Miami. I don't want to be a part of that game. Ritter is cool, but not really. Carolina, again, an ugly game. They're a good defense, even though they're underrated. So, yeah, this is just easy for me to move through this and say Flacco. All right, let me get to the next one. Max Crosby, so inspirational. Love him, dude. My dad just looked up till he gets sober. Big props to the guy. Dude, shout out to your dad. Shout out to your dad. Shout out to Dylan's dad. Yeah, Crosby's awesome. He's amazing. I'm a Raiders fan. I'm a little biased, but he is awesome. What he did, kicking the habit, doing all these things. Guy is absolutely relentless. But just an amazing dude. And shout out again to your dad. Great stuff. It's hard. I'd have to sit Ayuk or Diggs for Reed. Nah, yeah, you're good. You're good. Pollard and Cook. Randy Miller. Just had Amon-Ra play, so I'm picking between Reek, Devonta, and Flowers. I'm kind of up big. Yeah, you are. Damn, dude. Amon-Ra, Gibbs, and Raiders D. Bro. Randy. You getting applause, my man? Randy's getting an applause. Killed it. Amon-Ra, Gibbs, and Raiders D so far? We haven't even hit Sunday. Just through Thursday and Saturday, you killed it. You lit it up. That's crazy. So yeah, you don't have as much of a question here because you're probably in the lead by 100 points. I don't know what your opponent's done, but you're in the lead by 100 points, Randy. So yeah, Reek, Devonta, and Flowers. If you don't want to risk it with Reek, he's hurt. The game's going to get ugly potentially. Devonta's a safe bet. Devonta's so safe. He's so safe. So I would just go that route. I wouldn't even mess with it if they say Reek is all beat up and stuff. Go running back. Dylan's having a good time in the chat. Dylan said if Reek sits, I'll play Waddle maybe. Yeah, it's up there, but again, Reek out, Waddle. Yeah, I hear you guys. I'm not in on it. I'm not with you. No rush. Go through everyone. I appreciate the patience, Dylan. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Richard, if Reek plays Reed, Giants getting Waller back. Yeah, they are. We all think Darren Waller is just always hurt. So who knows? But yeah, he's supposed to come back. Richard said Ravens D. Dylan said lost Stroud, so that QB question stuff. Yeah, that's why. Okay, that makes more sense. Flacco here to save the day for you, man. Losing Stroud is killer, though. At this point, like, he crushed it all year long. Got you this far. And then gets hurt. That sucks. That really sucks, but you'll be fine, man. Dylan Fink dead. Richard, Connor coming off a big game last week and run and passing game, but go for it. Yeah, I'm with you on Ford. Flacco, I'm with you on that. Dylan, yeah, I'm a rock with a seasoned vet. Yeah, I rock with the studs, man. Rock with the studs, rock with the game changers, rock with the guys whose teams are rocking with them, right? Like their teams are rocking with them. You rock with them. Get them targets, get them high target players, high volume players, lots of carries. Get them on your team. Get them in your lineups. Guys, don't forget, like this video. It means everything for us. We're going up against the YouTube algorithm. We need your support. We need your help. And then, of course, subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed. I want to see you guys every week. I want to hear how your fantasy teams are doing. I want to hear how you're winning the championship. I want to chop it up in the chat and talk sports with you guys. I also do a live stream that I started back up every single week. It's just my 3 favorite topics in sports that week. Could be football, baseball, basketball, soccer, boxing, whatever. It could be anything. Join me on those live streams too. Subscribe now so you don't miss those. Also, I drop content all week long, shorts, quick hitting videos. I don't like to drag out long videos for you unless I'm doing live streams. So join us. But the only way to do that is to subscribe, turn notifications, like the video, show support. We really need it. You guys are the lifeblood of what we do. Dylan gave some hearts. Threw up the hearts. Mine looks terrible, but W. Randy, W. Randy, for real, that's ridiculous. Randy's killing it. Randy, go with Devontae. Go with whoever you want. Does it matter? You are killing it. All right, let's see what we got here. We got Hansel. Start 3, sit 2. Guys, help me out with this. Start 3, sit 2 between Cooper Kupp, Puka, Ayuk, and Jaden Reed. Cooper Kupp, Puka. So he's got both Rams. Right? Like, I'm not crazy about starting both. So that's always an issue. And both we're starting. And they're playing Washington. Guys, let me know in the chat. Hold on. Dropping a poll in the chat. Doing this on the fly. Dropping a poll. Would you start Kupp and Puka both in week 15? All right. Poll is up. Would you start Puka and Kupp both this week? They are playing Washington, which is a cake matchup. Cooper Kupp is crushing it again, right? We're getting old Cooper back. Puka's still doing good. With Kupp doing it. Stafford's feeding them both. Kyron's running through walls. Would you start both? Your other options, if you don't want to, you have to start 3 and sit 2. How can I sit 2? Cooper Kupp, Puka, Ayuk, and Jaden Reed. That's not even enough players. That's not enough players to sit 2. But I would start in this case Cooper, Puka, and Ayuk. And you know how much it kills me to say sit Reed. But that's where I would go. It looks like Randy's with me on this one. Shout out to Randy. He says start the Rams. Start the Rams and Ayuk. Is that chat pop? Let's get that poll popping, guys. Let's get some more votes on that poll. I want to see what you guys think. Would you start both Puka and Kupp in the same game? Do you have any issue with that on the same team? Drop it in the chat on the poll. Let's go. But yes, Hansel, I'm going Cooper Kupp, Puka, Ayuk. And Randy agrees. Rich Hicks, I was leaning London, so I'm going London. I agree with you, man. I think that's a good idea. I had Deontay on my bench. Probably should have played him. No, I mean, it happens, man. Like, Deontay, you couldn't have went in with much confidence in this game. I mean, he had an okay match. Sure, he had a good matchup, right? But like, it's Trubisky. I feel you on being concerned about it. Sure, we can look back now and go, he played well or he did good. Yeah, I should have played him, but no, I think you'll be good, man. I'm with you, dude. Rich said, sounds legit. It's Washington. Yeah, man, for sure. Let's go, man. Let's go. JV, Hubbard, Swift, and Gibson, full PPR. Which two do I play? I would go Hubbard and Swift. Hubbard and Swift. I do love Gibson a lot. I love Gibson, his rookie season. I always loved his upside. Brian Robinson, I know, is beat up, but I just like Swift and Gibson more, man. Swift and Hubbard more. Again, man, Gibson is it's so tempting. It is so tempting, but I'm gonna go Swift and Hubbard. George play 01. If Olave doesn't play, who should I start, Waddle or JSN? Guys, chat, help out George here. If Olave doesn't play, it's always Olave when he does play. I don't care how bad Derek Carr is. If Olave plays, you always start Olave. But if he doesn't play, it comes down to two wide receivers who have actually Robinson is completely out, isn't he? Sorry, going back to that question up here. He is out. Okay. If Robinson is completely out, does that change for me? Does it make me bench Hubbard? Does it make me bench Hubbard? It just might. Damn it. I don't know. Just might. I would say you can flip a coin on that, Hubbard or Gibson. It's up to you. I would still roll Hubbard and Swift, but Gibson is a good choice. You're not going to go wrong there. It doesn't matter. Sorry, back to George's question. If Olave doesn't play, who should I start, Waddle or JSN? I would say that Richard said Olave is not expected to play. So yeah, so it is leaning that way also. Although he did tell me that Nico Collins was out earlier and he lied to me. But I'm going to take your word on this one, Richard. I'm going to trust you on this one, Richard. Don't lie to me, Richard. If Olave is out, Waddle is playing in Miami. We've talked about this 1,000 times here. The weather is terrible. He's playing the Jets defense. They're really good. Whether the team overall is performing well or not doesn't matter. Their defense is really good. JSN, on the other hand, not a bad matchup. It just feels safer. Waddle hasn't done anything to, this season he's had like a couple of good games, but he definitely hasn't lived up to what I thought he was going to do this year. So I would roll. I think Waddle, I get it. Like, it's like the safer play. Like if you say like, oh, Waddle's, the guy we expect to do better, but I have a really bad feeling about this game, man. So I would go JSN. I think he's a good safe outlet here. Richard said he'd go JSN as well. He said he just came across on Olave news. Okay, so I could trust you on this one, Richard. I'm just kidding. I always trust you, man. All right, where did I leave off at? That was George. Hansel said, oops, sit one. Thanks for the help. Much love. Okay, yeah, no, I was a little confused. I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Guys, please make sure you like this video and you subscribe to this channel. It means everything to us. I really appreciate you guys for doing that. Again, we're fighting against the YouTube algorithm. Let's show them how much you guys appreciate and love, and this community is on fire. RivalFantasy.com is where you can play challenges, bingo, season long, or you can download the app, Rival Fantasy app, and have a lot of fun as well. George was saying that was non-PPR as well. Sounds legit in Washington. Richard, the way I see it, Reed and Ayuk should put up same numbers as both Rams. I hate two wide receivers from the same team. There you go. Someone who disagrees with playing Puka and Kupp. Hansel also said, anyone else kept starting Eckler? I started him to do 87 points. Yeah, I did talk about that earlier as well. the Eckler thing sucks, dude. I said that earlier. Like, I'm a huge Eckler fan. I have him in like so many leagues, right? Like even in my dynasty leagues, I have him everywhere. He's been a baller for so many years. And so he's been carrying my teams on his back a lot of times. So it sucks to see this fall off that he's doing. I don't know why it's happening. I don't know if it's just, the Chargers struggles, if it's the contract situation that happened, if I don't know what's causing this fall off for him, but it sucks to see. And I mean, it just sucks, man. He's outside the top 20 at running back right now in PPR scoring. Like it just doesn't, he has not played well all year. And like you, I have kept starting him. So yeah, you're not alone in this, man. Like I've kept starting him for sure. And it just sucks. It just sucks the way it's played out. Rich Hicks, who do you like more as a QB2, Browning or Love? I do like Love. Are you talking about this week or just in general? Or Browning already played? So do you just mean just like going forward, like to have rest of season? Or Rich, what do you mean for that? Just like going forward? Browning's been doing great. I'm a big fan of Love. If I had to choose like this week, I would have started Love. Browning played really well, but I would have started Love. Just good, solid matchup. And I like his upside, his, ability to run and do stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, going forward, obviously, Burrow will come back next year. So this isn't a dynasty question. I assume you're just talking about, okay, rest of season. Okay. So yeah, man, if we look at it, who do the Bengals have rest of season? Bengals play, let's see. Bengals play the Steelers next week, then the Chiefs, and I think the Browns are their last game. So Browns are a tough matchup, but Steelers and Chiefs, two totally, beatable teams to play against, right? So I'm not really concerned like from a matchup wise who they're playing. And he's been doing good. He's been doing really good. And then the Packers are playing, let's see if they have any sweet like gimme matchups the rest of the way. I know Tampa today is this week is a good matchup. Then they play Panthers, underrated defense in my opinion, and Vikings and Bears. So yeah, I would rather have, as crazy as it sounds, Jake Browning rest of the season. His players are healthy. They're fighting. They're scrappy. He's healthy. He doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on him this year. I would go rest of season. I would go Browning. Richard said JSN for that question. Randy Miller asks Goddard or Hill. Goddard or Hill. Goddard or Hill. I did Taysom as my not so obvious lock of the week. Also, you guys are getting all my not so obvious locks of the week. So Goddard is like the, what happened? Okay, yeah. Goddard is like the obvious, like bigger name, talented quarterback, offense that's on fire, always in shootouts, like high scoring games, right? So he's that guy, right? As he's returning from his injury and trying to get healthy. Taysom is all upside, boomer bust, but he's shaking the boomer bust a little bit. He's shaking that narrative. I talked about it on the video earlier this week. I talked about it on the short I put out earlier this week. He was Mr. Boomer Bust, right? Like you literally, when you were putting Taysom Hill in your lineup in the past, you were like, is he going to give me 2 points today, 3 points today, or is he going to give me like 15 points today? Is he going to give me 5 points today? Am I going to get like a couple rushes or something from him? Or am I going to get 20 points from him? Listen, week 6 on 12, 17, 22, 21, a 4, a bye week, 8, 15. So he's been shaking the bus label, right? Like, of course, the 4-point game, like, yeah, people are going to they're not going to be perfect all year long, but like, that's not the boomer bust guy we were referring to before. The boomer bust guy didn't have consistency at all. It was one way or the other way. It was no like just consistency. Derek Carr sucks. They're giving, Taysom a lot of work. He's got so many ways to score, right? Like there's the running thing. He can catch the ball. He can throw touchdowns. There's so many options for Taysom Hill. So sure, Goddard, you want the safe play, Randy? Go Goddard. Decent matchup, better team, better everything. Goddard's the safe play, solid play. But he's returning from injury, so things aren't as high upside as you would like it to be. Will he get the 20-something point game? Probably not, because he's still trying to get better. He's trying to return. But he's your safe play. If you want all upside, which you don't really sound like you need it because you just crushed it already on Thursday and Saturday, Taysom Hill. So if you want to get crazy, you can go Taysom Hill. You can go Taysom Hill if you want to get crazy, but I think Goddard's your safe bet. Got it, your safe bet. Richard, watch MMA fights while listening to the show. What's been like the highlight of the card, man? What's been like the highlight fight so far? Like which one has really stuck out to you? When is Rival dabbling in MMA? I keep trying to push it. I won't lie to you. I'm trying to all year bets. Yeah, MMA. I love USC. I love MMA. I would love to have it on Rival. We'll see. I keep pushing for it. It really just depends on like the demand, right? Like, so Rival is always going to push the stuff that you guys ask for, that the community asks for. So NFL, of course, is always asked for. NBA, MLB. There's, potential for soccer, hockey. All these things are out there, but it really becomes what people ask for, what people want the most, and how Rival can put a unique spin on it, how we can make it better for you, how we can make it more exciting. So yeah, I love the idea of Rival having MMA or UFC or however you want to look at it. Beat the doors down, guys. Let them know you want to see it. Let them know you want to see it. Yeah, rest of season, we answered that. If Case Purdy goes down, you're good with Purdy, though. That's great. Shout out to Juice World Revenge for joining. Browning with his wide receiver. Yeah, Jake Brown and rest of Steven. Hansel, thoughts on Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler rest of season? Thinking who to start as my running back 2 rest of playoffs. Started Chandler today and he killed it. Yo, shout out to you, Hansel. Shout out to Hansel for starting Ty Chandler. I talked about this earlier also because I did go over the Saturday games already. But I was saying, I shouldn't say hate. Hate's a strong word, folks. I'm not a fan of Madison. The same way I don't like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The same way if you ask me Goldfish or Madison, Rock or Madison, I'm going to say the fish. I'm going to take the Rock. I don't like Madison. So I love when the team would use Ty Chandler more. Obviously, this time they had to use him, right? Because Madison was hurt. So Ty Chandler's a baller. He's really good. And so shout out to you for starting him. Ballsy move, bold move. Shout out to you, Hansel. Bold move, just like starting a Raiders defense or anything of that sort. Bold move. Not afraid of the big moment. Shout out to you. Aaron Jones has been hurt, it feels like forever. Right? Am I wrong here? It feels like he's been hurt forever. I feel like he's always hurt, right? Like we missed him earlier in the season. He hasn't played since week 12. Is 12 the last time? Or no, 11. Week 11. So, man, I'm not going to be the guy who starts him straight back from his injury. I'm not that guy. I like to see players do it. And it does burn me sometimes, right? Like if I take the chance, I go, I want to see the player come back healthy and prove it. Sometimes it burns me. Sometimes it doesn't. A-Chain first came back versus the Raiders after the knee injury, went right back out after one play. He was done. I'm not the guy to play that. So Ty Chandler, as long as like Madison doesn't play, he's the RB2 to have, in my opinion. But the question is you don't know if Madison's coming back right away. So like if Madison comes back, then Ty Chandler loses a lot of value. So then you would want Aaron Jones kind of. You see what I'm saying? So it just depends. You have to stay right on the pulse of that and, see how it goes. But my thing is, I don't know when Aaron Jones is coming back. Like, I know they say he's going to come back and he's, whatever, but he's been practicing and all that kind of stuff. But like, how good is he going to be? How rusty is he going to be? How likely is he to get hurt again? So like, I would like Ty Chandler as the guy, as long as they fade away Madison. I don't know if they will. So you just have to stay on top of it. Flex Aaron Jones or Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed all day for me. Again, I'm not playing the Aaron Jones thing. I know he's supposed to come back. They waited so long. He should be fully healthy. Yeah, prove it for me. Prove it. Jaden Reed is healthy. Jaden Reed has been a balling playmaker, running the ball in the backfield, all kinds of crafty stuff. I'll take Jaden Reed. Prove it. Let Aaron Jones prove it for me. If he proves it, my bad. You're right. But until then, I'm taking Jaden Reed. Richard said he's looking for that Patty the Batty fight. You want to see him beat Ferguson? Did he beat Ferguson, or you're saying you want him to beat Ferguson? He did beat Ferguson? Boy, them two were talking a lot. That's terrible for Ferguson. Ferguson needs to hang it up, man. Like, I don't even know why he was fighting Patty. Like, he's too old, man. It's past. It's over for him. And I'm not the guy to knock him. I mean, I just think that sometimes you got to know when to hang it up. This is like MMA. It's not a game. It's very serious. Health, implications going forward for the rest of your life. You're out there fighting young guns like Patty. It doesn't make sense. Rich Hicks. Should I hold on to 3 quarterbacks for the season if possible to block One guy just had T Law and another has CJ Stroud. Okay, so this is a good question, Rich. It depends on a lot of factors. A, do you need that bench space for other players? Like, are you locked into the starters you have, or is there value in you picking up other players? Like, you might need to flex somebody or fill in for an injury at a real situation, not your quarterback, right? That's one. Two, how many quarterbacks are you guys starting? Just one quarterback, or is it like a super flex, 2 quarterback type league? Like, what's the situation? This is like for it all, right? Like, this is the playoffs, the championship is coming up. So who are you holding also? Is it the Jake Browning and Jordan Love? Is that who you're holding? Because I don't know what your waivers look like. I don't know who else is out there. I don't know what you're really preventing these people from picking up. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on there. And then Randy, let's see what Randy said. Patrick Taylor. Would you start Patrick Taylor? I mean, again, versus other than who? Randy, in terms of Patrick Taylor? I'm not crazy about Patrick Taylor. Like, Aaron Jones is coming back. So, I mean, I would stay away from him. But it really depends on how bad your situation is. I'm locked into my guy, 1 quarterback league, Purdy, Jake Brown, and Love. Yeah. So you're locked in on Purdy. You're good. Like, you're set at quarterback. You're locked in. You're not going to start Brown or Love over him. So now you're questioning, do I hold on to these other guys? I don't know how bad the quarterback situation is, like who you're blocking, like who they already have at quarterback or who's available on waivers. But I don't think that, and you're locked into your guys in terms of all the other players on your team. I think that, Jordan Love has a tough end of season. He has a good matchup this week. So don't drop him right now, obviously, but next 2 weeks, 16 and 17 are tough matchups. So if you're going to drop someone, drop him. Because he's gonna run into Carolina. He has the Vikings, so like it's not gonna look pretty for him anyway. I don't think. So I think you're good. I have my running backs and wide receivers, only one tight end, McBride, and 2 defenses. Yeah, I mean, if you don't need to pick anybody up and you don't see the need for it, like literally you're not gonna do anything with whoever you pick up anyway, then cool. Make sure there's not a better player to block though either. Like on the waivers, just kind of stay on top of it, right? Like if someone gets injured, like a big name player, and now you have that choice between dropping Jordan Love and that player, just do it, right? Because I don't think Jordan Love's going to have, set the world on fire the next, few weeks. So I think you're good. Shout out to Johnny Mahetsky for joining. Man, guys, we have run almost 2 hours on this thing. Shout out to you guys for doing this. I mean, I love you guys. Let's keep bumping the likes up. I think we're at like 9 right now. We definitely need to get more of those. Subs are booming. I need you guys to hit the sub button, subscribe to the channel. It means so much to us. Again, I know it takes 2 seconds for you guys. It's nothing, but for me, it means the world. It's the easiest way to thank me and to let me know you're appreciating these long live streams, that you're having a lot of fun. It means a lot to me. So please do that. Hansel, I'm starting Sam Howell since CJ Stroud is out. Yeah, I mean, Sam Howell is not a bad play, man. I mean, the Rams are an okay defense. He's done pretty consistent also. Hold on. Shout out to Richard. Have a good night, everybody. From Richard. Shout out to Richard. He's been on the show almost the entire stream. He's got to work tomorrow. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate the comment. Appreciate you hanging out more than anything, though, man. It really means a lot. So thank you for that. Thank you. Back to your question, Hansel. Oh, not a question, but you said I'm starting Howell. Yeah, Howell's been really good all year. I mean, he's had a couple of struggle weeks, right? Like some weeks that were like, but for the most part, pretty good. Pretty good. Hansel says good night to you, Richard. So yeah, he's been doing pretty good. So I think that, you can have a way worse situation than that, right? We had people in here earlier asking like Derek Carr, Desmond Ridder, Zach Wilson. Like, I'd much rather you have Sam Howell than those guys. So shout out to you for, I don't know if you already added him or if he was available on waivers or what it was, Hansel, but good stuff. Rich also said, night, Rich, good luck. Hey, you're both rich. You're both rich, man. I just noticed that. You're both riches. Rich is just running the chat today. Johnny said, yo, McBride, Kincaid, or Ingram. Johnny has a tight end question. McBride, Kincaid, or Ingram. Man, you have some really good tight ends there. I think I would go McBride's playing the 49ers too, though, and Kincaid's playing Dallas. So you have some tough ones. I would say that the way McBride has been playing lately, that he's a tough guy to sit. So I would go McBride. Because at this point, like, he's the hot hand, right? He's the hot hand. He's just the better. I like Kincaid a lot. He's been a fun rookie this year, but I just think that he's the better player. You also talk about Ingram, but Ingram's playing Baltimore. It's a tough matchup. He's also been on fire too, though, man. Actually, do I like Ingram or McBride more? For me, it's not Kincaid, though, Johnny. He's not part of the situation here for me. I'm trying to think. McBride's playing in San Francisco, and he struggled against San Francisco. I mean, he didn't do great against San Francisco, but he also wasn't getting work then either. Tough matchups. I would say fantasy playoffs, everything on the line. The Jaguars have really been hyper focused on Ingram. The targets have been through the roof. And it's going to be a tough, gritty game for them. The targets have been good for McBride, too. Don't get me wrong. Man, I think I'm going to go Ingram, actually, dude. I think I'm going to go Ingram. Yeah. Or, hold on. Jags are playing in Florida, right? So the weather could be bad for them too. Let me just check something really quick. Is the weather horrible over there too? Yeah, it's bad over there too. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with McBride or Ingram. I think they're pretty equal to me. But if I have to choose one, I'm going to go Ingram. I think it's going to be a gritty game. I'm going to go Ingram. Let's see where we're at. McBride gets the volume. Rich says McBride gets the volume. Linebackers are tough for the Ravens. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong, man. Okay, Rich said McBride also. Okay, everyone's going McBride. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. If you can start Ingram or flex, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, it's absolutely perfect. Johnny also said Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Keaton Mitchell, or Foreman. Okay, so you weren't in here earlier when I was talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So the thing is here, I hate Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I hate him, man. I jokingly said that I would, if the option was a rock or a goldfish or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I would not pick Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I am not a fan of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm all McKinnon all day in that situation. The problem is here, you're giving me Keaton Mitchell, who the workload isn't crazy on. You're also giving me Foreman, who the workload isn't crazy on. The matchup isn't great for him either, because he's playing Cleveland and that defense is still legit as heck. So I think what I would do is I would go with Mitchell for the upside. Like, it's purely an upside play. I don't like any of these options. So if you cannot play any of these guys, I would prefer not to. Johnny said I lost Jonathan Taylor and Stevenson. Yeah, that's brutal, man. Yeah, you're in one of those situations where you're just hoping one of these guys, for me, Keaton Mitchell is most likely to pop off a big play, right? So that's all I can lean on. Like, he's just most likely to do that. So I would go Keaton Mitchell on that one. Rich said, as a Giants fan, I can never trust Ingram again. Oh, man. I feel you. I feel you. He is inconsistent sometimes. The offense uses him inconsistent sometimes. I like that he's gotten so hot the last few weeks. But McBride is, probably the better choice. Rich Hicks, me too. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still on my waivers 12-team league. Yeah, and he shouldn't be, right? In a 12-team league, like, that's pretty, it can get tough. It can get ugly in a 12-team league. So he shouldn't be on the waivers in reality, but he sucks. He's bad at football. He's just boring. I'm just not a fan. I would just love for Pacheco to come back, honestly. I'm not a big fan of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. All right. We have gone for over 2 hours. 2 hours, guys. Let's give a round of applause to everybody in the chat. Round of applause. I appreciate y'all. You guys are amazing. You guys are absolutely amazing. A lot of you have stuck in here the entire time. So shout out to everybody here. And what I will say is, I just want to talk about Rival Fantasy really quick one more time. If any more questions pop up in the chat, in the meantime, we will answer them, guys. We'll answer them together. One of the biggest things is you guys aren't sitting here throwing questions at me and saying, answer them, Neil. You guys are being a part of it. This is major. A lot of people don't want you to be a part of it. They don't want you to participate. They don't want you to feel like this is a community. This isn't the Neil show. This is the Rival Fantasy community live stream. We're helping each other out. We're talking football. We're talking sports. And I love it. Before we go, unless I said, if any other questions come up, let me know. But before we go, Rival Fantasy Sports, go there now, sign up, create an account. You can either go to the website, rivalfantasy.com, or you can just download the app, Rival Fantasy Sports. Download the app, sign up. It's free. There's no charge. But once you get in there, we have season long. This was our first season with NFL season long. So definitely that's coming up to a close here, of course, because we're wrapping up the season. But we also have fantasy challenges. So if say you're not in the playoffs, say you lost the playoffs, but you still want to play fantasy, perfect way to do that. Challenges. Right now, you see this right here. You see how crazy fantasy has gotten? Brock Purdy, $10. Someone has $10 on him to beat Patrick Mahomes, just straight up fantasy points. This is how crazy the NFL is, how crazy fantasy is, how crazy everything is. You would just click on Patrick Mahomes if you think he's going to win, put whatever amount you want, 10, 5, you could do $1. You don't have to do the whole 10. And you place your bet, and then you have this bet going. If you don't like it, just skip through. $5 Lamar Jackson over Justin Fields. So you can just keep skipping, or you could search for players if you prefer. If you're just looking for specific players, search for them. You can also create challenges. I like to argue with people. I like to debate. I like to settle my debates through challenges. So sometimes I create challenges. I just throw them up on like Twitter, or I send them to a friend directly. But if I'm having like an office job debate, or I'm debating with my fellow coworkers or family, whatever, you can create the challenge from scratch. And literally, like, hey, I'm debating, let's just say Christian McCaffrey or something, and I'm debating. And you don't have to go running back for running back either. You can literally put Lamar Jackson. Whatever you're debating, you put it in there, you hit continue, you pick your side, you put your amount, you hit place bet, and then you can either use a link and just send it like on Twitter, to a text message, whatever. Or if you're already friends, which you could be friends on Rival, you can send it directly to them. So like it'll pop up on that challenge screen, it'll pop up to send it to a friend, and you just click the friend's name and boom. As Rich says here, his handle is Frito Bandito FF. Send him a request if you want to be a friend of his. Mine is Clock Dodgers, CLOCKDODGERS, exactly like the two words, Clock and Dodgers. If you send me a request, I will absolutely accept you. Or if you drop your handle in the chat, like Frito, like Rich has it on here, I can just do it for you. I can add you as a friend. And then we can send challenges directly to each other. The other thing on here is Fantasy Bingo. I created this card live on the stream earlier. You just pick a lineup, no salary cap, nothing like that. You create a lineup, and then a card is created for you, and you just want to fill in the card. So these are achievements in football. Obviously, we all know stuff about football, 6 to 9 receptions for wide receiver. If A.J. Brown does that, he fills a square. Once you get 5 in a row in any direction or 4 in a corner, you win. The jackpot right now is over $1,200. So you have a potential to win that. It's split different ways depending on how you win. Just for example, it's $1 a card. That's it. I won on this card here, for instance, $204. Got 5 in a row. And this is also available. All these things I'm showing you, challenges, bingo, they're also available in NBA. They'll be available for Major League Baseball. Whatever sport you play that we offer, those are available on those sports as well. So like, for instance, you may not be as big into baseball that you don't want to spend all that time doing season long, but you'll do challenges. You'll do bingo. It's a lot of fun, right? Like, it's a way to still have fun with something maybe you don't want to dedicate all the time to. Or again, if you're knocked out of your season long league and you want to play, and challenges are a good way, but this is how the season long looks. First year at it, you could do in-league bets, which is really fun. So when I say in-league bets, right here, if you see this little 11 and 5, if you hit view bets, these two teams have bet on me to win. This team has bet against me. So they can actually, win each other's money depending on how I do in my matchup. And you can bet on your own matchup. Of course, you can only bet for yourself, but if you could actually bet on other people's matchups as well. So you don't have to bet on your own. You can bet on other people's, kind of support your league mates, or, kind kind of dog out one of your teammates if you don't want them to win and kind of make it a little more brutal. Yeah, I bet against you. I like doing stuff like this. So that's available. We also have a lockbox where you can actually keep your league's funds in there. So when the season's over, commissioner divvies out by prize percentage and it'll automatically go into your rival wallet. So lots of fun stuff. Trying to keep it innovative, trying to keep it new, fresh, one-stop shop for fantasy for you guys. So go check it out. Again, that's who this show is brought to you guys by. So please check it out. Rich Hicks said, thanks for the advice. Don't forget to check your weather reports for your kickers and QBs for tomorrow. Best of luck. Rich, not even just for kickers and QB. Yeah, QBs. So like for real. Like Rich is telling you guys, not just kickers. Normally you're like, what's the win like for my kicker? Rich is saying for your QBs because it's ugly out there. So shout out to Rich for the solid advice right here. Definitely pay attention to that because it's ugly out here weather-wise, guys. All right, I'm going to wrap up the show right now because we're over 2 hours, way longer than I expected, but you guys kept going in the chat, and so I don't want to bail on you guys. I love talking with you guys and chopping it up. You guys are the best. So that is it for me today. If you want to follow us up on social media, we're on Twitter, Instagram. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Rival Fantasy, or my personal is at Clock Dodgers. But you guys can follow me there for more if you want to chat some more. If you have any other questions, because this is the last live stream before tomorrow morning, you guys can put them on the videos as well that I already have up, whether it's a short or a video, and I'll try to answer those too if you have any more between now and kickoff on Sunday. All right, guys, thank you again for joining me. I appreciate all the support. Make sure before we go, you guys like this episode. We're going up against the YouTube algorithm and we need your support. So like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. All these things mean the world to us. And that's really all I have for today. Anything else comes up, you guys let us know. Tag us on social. We'll respond. Or if you leave a comment, I answer all comments on all YouTube videos. I leave nothing hanging. So, guys, I appreciate you, Rich, both Riches, Johnny, Hansel. Who else was up in here really killing it? Randy, Derek, anybody? Did I answer Derek's question? Yeah, I answered Derek's question. Everybody, thank you guys all. I really appreciate you guys. Dylan was killing it today. You guys have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday. Let me know. Come back next live stream. I want to know how you guys did, if you won, if you advanced, what the results were like. I will talk to you guys next live stream. I am out.